I have not seen Greg Cody since the holiday party, since all of us being in genuine awe at his system of beer delivery at the holiday party. And I come in here today and I see him, and he appears to be reading the news as I come in. And he says out loud to me, and I'm the only one in the room, he says, "Wow." And I look over, I'm like, "What happened?" He's like, "The Lobos fired their defensive coordinator."
Yeah, it's news. Trust me, in the PFPI community.
So you just dropped your defense?
No, we fired the coordinator, Turd Cartwheel. He'd been with the organization for, I think, 5 or 6 years. And what?
It's breaking news.
It is breaking news.
Mike Ryan just fell down laughing at Turd Cartwheel. Mike sure
what are you laughing
enjoys
at his
just
name for?
making ridiculous character names. It's something that he really enjoys.
That one's just lazy.
He's never
No.
he's never come up with
No,
anything
it's a
as
famous
good
name
as
in coaching.
Turd.
It's like the Ryan surname.
He's going to be kicking himself over that one.
Put it on the poll,
Nepo baby
please.
turd cartwheel.
Juju at Le Batard Show. Is Turd Cartwheel a great name for a defensive coordinator?
Yes, it is.
Yes
And
or no?
in the championship game, we gave up 198 points. That will not stand. So I had to,
I just don't understand why you're finding out by reading something. Like, aren't you in charge of this whole
Yeah, it was a
operation?
headline. I was happy to see it in a headline, because normally transactions in fantasy football don't get a
But
lot
you
of
acted
attention.
surprised. You were surprised by it.
Lobo's flush turd.
Now you're thinking. That's a headline writer right there.
You acted surprised.
I was surprised to see it in a headline, because it's but this is the AMFFFT, and so you expect a little bit more attention. But to see it being reported as news, not just that it is news, was a big deal.
Zaz, has your appreciation or respect for Greg Cody grown at all since you started
Yes.
working with him? Oh, it has?
Yes.
Yeah, really?
Oh.
Yes.
Really? I need
Couldn't have
more-
been lower, though.
I need
Well, yeah, it could not have been lower. That's for sure. So, take that as if you will. But I find him hard not to like.
Wow.
That's the trick. Yeah, that's the trick.
Even if I see some excerpts from his column yesterday, which I think are I vehemently disagree with, I find him hard to dislike.
Okay, let's dissect that column coming up next here, because Mike McDaniel is one of 5. Mike McDaniel is one of 5 coaches in NFL history to return for a 5th season after back-to-back losing seasons in the 3rd and 4th year. So the Dolphins are doing status quo in a way that really angers their fan base.
I don't know about that. I think Chris Greer being fired was the right thing to do. And I don't know that people make fun of McDaniel for a number of things. The way he presents himself, all the ahs and the ums, and he's not an orator, okay? He's not a
He used to
speaker.
be. He used to be. We thought the quirky oratory skills were something people liked when they had the best passing offense in the league.
When they were scoring 70 points on the Broncos, everybody loved him. He was glib. He was funny. He was amusing. And he's the same now, and it just doesn't fly.
I don't think you have the right read on how the Dolphin fan base feels. I think you're way, way too sugary.
I don't know. I think people are kind of in the middle on it. I don't hear...
Like, what percentage of Dolphin fans do you think want Mike McDaniel fired?
Fired? Yeah, I would say 40%.
I'd say 90.
I'd say it's 90 with benching Tua. I think that was a monumentally successful move they made. McDaniel, I don't know.
I'm excited to keep McDaniel.
I like McDaniel. Tua's so terrible.
Yeah, I don't think that you have an accurate appraisal of what the fan base is feeling. The frustration, 25 years of frustration.
Why are you all talking so assuredly that Mike McDaniel's still going to be the head coach?
Because he's still around now. Because
Okay,
he's still
but-
around. Everyone else has fired their coaches, and he's still around.
But did you read the B-Jacks note? Like he's just waiting around like the rest of us.
Football is back, Jack. Oh my, we've waited for so long. We're so damn excited that we put it in a song. Don't need no check downs. Give me big hits and quarterbacks. Keep your fantasy team from falling off the track. Football is back, Jack. chips are down and you throw a prayer. When your team is primed and on the hunt, it's 4th and 10, you refuse to punt. When the shoulder pads and helmets crack, that's how you know that football is back, Jack. Let me hear you say, football is back, Jack. This high is wild and out of control. And we're gonna ride it every week till we reach the Super Bowl. Don't need no check downs. Give me big hits and quarterbacks. If you say this game's the best, I'll say it's a gag. Football is back, Jack. Football is back, Jack. Football is back. Football is back, Jack.
Have not seen Greg Cody since the holiday party, and as I mentioned, all of us were really impressed, including somebody who was an actual sniper in the military forces
Really?
at our holiday party. Everyone was impressed by your beer gathering system at the holiday party. That night, your son put you to work on the way home because this machine never rests.
Biggest game in 20 years.
And in the car, you were talking into his phone. And do you know how disagreeable? You probably don't even remember how disagreeable you were with your son who was trying to coach you up. It reminded me of me trying to produce my father
Camera show.
because he kept requesting things from you,
I know.
and you got pissed off at some point, as you often do. What other sounds do we have from Greg Cody there? Because we've got him for 2 days, and we've got to set up. This is the biggest game UM has played since they played Ohio State for a national championship, correct?
Yes,
Biggest game in 20 years.
since 2002.
Biggest game since the last one. Dan.
And Greg Cody, well, bigger. It's bigger than the last one. It's
That's
the
right.
biggest game since the last one, and it's bigger than the last one, and it's the biggest game since they played Ohio State in the Fiesta Bowl and had a championship stolen from them. Fireworks filled the sky, and there was a penalty flag on the field in South Florida. We'll never forgive referee Terry Porter, who's never spoken about it publicly since.
He can't hurt us anymore, Dan.
And Greg Cody, on the way home from that holiday party, was just slurring into his son's phone an assortment of things and got tired of the coaching, honestly.
All right, so whisper fake pregame show.
I don't know what you mean.
Fake pregame show.
I don't know what that means. Fake pregame show. Fake pregame
I need you to whisper it.
Do it.
Fake pregame show.
Again.
Fake pregame show.
Biggest game in 20 years.
Biggest game in 20 years.
University of Miami.
University of Miami.
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
That kind of thing.
That kind of thing.
Whisper it. That kind of thing.
That kind of thing.
Do it again. Fake pregame show.
Oh, for the love of God. Pregame show.
Fake pregame show.
Fake pregame show.
Pregame it.
Pregame it.
Pregame it.
Pregame it.
Do you remember any of that?
Of course I do. The trouble is with this guy, I can't take the night off. Like I'm always working. We're on the way home in the back of a luxurious Uber. I can't enjoy the ride home. He's like in my ear, asking me to repeat things. It's ridiculous.
Okay, the $1 million question though is, what didn't you understand?
I mean, he's directing me to whisper, and why am I whispering?
Exactly, you got it. Whisper.
You know, even your mother was coming to my defense.
No, she was
I don't
not.
think she was.
No, she was trying to coach you
She
up.
was saying
because
all he wants you to do is whisper.
She understood what was happening there. She
Elder abuse.
that's as drunk as I have heard you since you were slurring to your wife privately that you needed her help, assistance, and support as it regarded the controversies around your fantasy league.
I need your support.
Yeah,
that's-
and it didn't do any good. We lost that vote because of collusion.
I need your support.
And what ends up happening is Turd Cartwheel gets fired.
Well, that's different. You're mixing up PFPI fantasy and PFPI. Cartwheel got fired because he had just given his defense had given up 198 points in a championship loss. In this case, in the main PFPI, I was trying to pass a majority vote to punish people who were late with their picks.
I need your support.
Yes, and I got my wife's support, but I didn't get the support from anybody under his roof.
Are you in charge of your league or not? Or is it a democracy? You got a majority vote in?
Well, 42.9% of our league
right
is under his roof.
So it's a majority vote. It's not a dictatorship. It's a democracy.
Younger son Michael was also on my side. That's where we got it.
Well, that's the problem. Is that I knew I was going to lose the. You directed your daughter to vote against me.
Not true.
But Michael voting against me was ridiculous. I redid my will the next day. I'll tell you that.
You keep threatening to do that in a way that's really unseemly.
Unseemly.
I honestly, it's only something that I've heard of, like billionaire tyrant oil tycoons with like terrible family dysfunction.
With Logan Roy all of a sudden.
You're always threatening to take away your inheritance when it's mostly your wife's money.
You don't have any control over it.
Well,
That's
I don't
me
have
and
any
Mom
control
talking.
over anything when it comes to my marriage.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Does Greg Cody have control of anything when it comes to his marriage?
You don't get the crusted up Miami Seahawks pennant in his garage.
That old Dolphins chair that you used to wear at the Orange Bowl that you still have in the garage. I don't get that.
You're never going to get that Fort Lauderdale Strikers bottle opener.
The Orange Bowl seat cushion.
He still has one of those in his garage.
I should bring in some of my old artifacts.
Is that still a thing? First of all, yes. First of all, yes.
Yeah,
but is the
show and tell, bring it back.
seat cushion still a thing at stadium giveaways?
Dan, every stadium that I go to on my campus tour with ESPN Radio this year, like we'll see the stadium, we'll go into the stadium like the day before, and I love seeing how many of the seat backs are on the seats. And like, yes, it's still totally a thing. I remember when I used to go to the Orange Bowl as a kid, I saw someone who had that seat back on their seat in the bleachers, like, that dude is living luxury.
It's a necessity at Marklight Stadium. Really? A necessity. Yeah.
Oh,
Otherwise, you're sitting on poured concrete.
Yes, that's all it is. That is all. You are sitting on just rocks, basically.
I never had one.
Smoothed out rocks is what you're sitting on.
I never had a seat back at the Orange Bowl.
I'm always standing.
So I want to get to all the University of Miami stuff as we will over the course of the week, because we really haven't felt this way in almost 25 years down here. But the Dolphins are in great flux, and Mike McDaniel is part of the GM search, which is why I think they are going to keep him. And I believe he's lost all his lifelines now. He's got to make another quarterback or he will be fired. That's what the job will be, I would assume. I would assume that because Mike McDaniel has survived this, and Tua yesterday is saying it would be pretty dope to get a fresh start somewhere else, that he's the last remaining member of this triumvirate of people that represented the franchise for the last few years, Tyreek Hill, Tua, and him, and I believe he will be the only survivor of this. You've written a column today in the Miami Herald. I think your thoughts are very different from a frustrated fan base that Zaslow gets to applaud every time that he crushes Tua and fires Mike McDaniel. He's been firing Mike McDaniel for how long now? How long have you been firing him? Every single day you meet me, instead of good morning, you say with Mike McDaniel should be fired.
I'm not
morning.
sure the exact day count, but I'm pretty sure it came the Monday after the Dolphins got killed by the Cleveland Browns. Like, I feel like that day that they were just uncompetitive. Tua was awful. I think he had 3 interceptions that game. The day after against the Cleveland Browns, I think is when I officially fired Mike McDaniel for the first time.
The counter just switched from 40. This is the 48th consecutive day.
I'm firing Mike McDaniel. That's for sure. I'm definitely firing.
I think Mike McDaniel earned the right for one more season.
How?
How? Because when you start 1-6 and 2-7, you expect the team to cave. And this team didn't. They got better. The defense played better, notwithstanding Sunday when they got their ass kicked in New England. But they finished 5-3. They never quit on the coach, which means they're still playing hard. They believe in this coach. And I think it should go without saying that if he doesn't make the playoffs next season, he's out. No question about it. Well, and should be.
I hear what you're saying, and I do think there is something to be said for starting 1-6 and the team not quitting, and you win 5 of your next 6 games. But if we look at the entire picture here, in 4 years, Mike McDaniel is the head coach. What makes you believe that this is a coach who can win you a Super Bowl? Like, that's what it needs to be about. Not just, hey, in the end of the season, the team played better. We have a body of work, 4 years. What makes you believe this is a coach who can win you a Super Bowl?
With this franchise, the franchise that hasn't won a playoff game in 25 years, I don't think they could hire anybody who would make me believe that. When they had Nick Saban, and by the way, Nick Saban would have done great with the Dolphins had he not left. He was not a failure here at all, in my opinion. I think Nick Saban had the cred to maybe lead.
You say he
that.
wasn't a failure, but I think he was every bit as 500 as McDaniel's been. Like, you say that Nick Saban wasn't a failure.
He was two under 500.
McDaniel's a 500 coach.
Well, but it unless you have the magic quarterback, it takes time. It takes a couple of years. It takes 4 or 5 years. The problem is there's no patience anymore.
Well, no. That's not the problem. That's not the problem.
There's too much
the problem is
patience here.
after 4 years, you don't have something that looks like a plan. And that's the problem.
The problem is after the first quarter against Tampa Bay, I thought Quinn Ewers had a great first half against Tampa Bay. And I was beginning to say to myself, you know what? I was on to his side too long. Quinn Ewers looks like the real deal. Since that first half, I have not seen that as much. I don't think they go into this offseason having any idea who their quarterback is next year or whether he's going to be any good. And that's a problem.
Ewers isn't the answer, and I want to go one step further with this and ask you guys. In a league where everything's salary capped and what you actually want from your architects is to find a whole bunch of people who are value. I'm asking everyone here this question. Do you guys have examples of organizations that can overcome this albatross of a contract? Because Cleveland's got one at quarterback with Deshaun Watson, and they're not going to get out from under it. When you have this much money tied up in someone who cannot play at that position, I don't think it's something that can be overcome by an organization in a year or two. I think it takes 5-6 years, and it certainly can't be overcome in a year where there's no quarterbacks in the draft and no quarterbacks available in free agency.
There's only seemingly one example, and it's going on right now. It's Denver. Like, Denver did it. But that's the only example I think there's ever been.
And Cleveland's picking top 6 in the NFL draft. Like, they have an opportunity to get a rookie wage scale quarterback in there inside the top 6. Dolphins got their hands tied behind their back because they don't have that kind of pick because they performed too well for their coach down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, it's unlucky a little bit because when you pick 11, plenty of drafts, you get a good quarterback at 11. Plenty of drafts. And this is not one. I just think that in this case, they needed to give McDaniel one more. I don't think McDaniel's a bad coach. And if McDaniel got fired Monday, on Black Monday, he would be somebody's offensive coordinator next season.
The part
that.
that I don't get, you guys have heard me talk about this for 21 years now, because I am a little bit exasperated when yesterday makes an appearance and everyone is clucking about all the coaches that have been fired. And I'm watching and I'm like, okay, so Pete Carroll couldn't take it with him, right? He forgot how to do it in a year. Like, he was really good at it and he was really exceptional at culture creating. We all know he's great at attitude and atmosphere. And after 1 year, the Raiders decide, oh, that worked with Geno Smith back there, but it doesn't work with Geno Smith here. And now Pete Carroll can't take it with him. Pete Carroll, who we would all say is exceptional, after 1 year, the Raiders decide, nah, you can't do it anymore. And I think we do this all the time with thinking that there are Vrabels out there everywhere that can just go from place to place and take it with them. And I think it's really, really myopic in not understanding how it is these people do their jobs and how difficult these jobs are. And you better have a quarterback. Like, there aren't a lot of examples of a coach that's having success without a quarterback that he's at the hip with. Show me them all. Like, it's just really hard to do. And Pete Carroll thought, well, I did it with Geno Smith in Seattle. I'll just take it with me over here. And after a year, he's gone. So explain it to me. What happened with Pete Carroll that he can't just take it with him? Because if I told you right now you can have Pete Carroll, would you want that? Because there aren't a lot with resumes better than that available to you.
Right. Well, I think a lot of coaches are going to fail in their first year with a program like that. I mean, they have the number 1 draft pick for a reason. I really think that There's no patience anymore. On ESPN this morning, I saw the headline, "Should the Ravens part ways with John Harbaugh?" Why? Because his field goal kicker missed a 40-yard winning field goal? Are you kidding me? And if the kid had made that field goal, the same headline would have been applied to Mike Tomlin. These guys have won for years, but they haven't won enough.
So, but what are we doing? Brian Flores the last couple of years was 10-6 and 9-8, and he was fired. What are we doing? Like, could I not put any number of people in that position and get a 500 record?
Perhaps. I don't know.
But what are we doing with this obsession with let's get Stefanski or let's get Raheem Morris or let's get whoever the next guy is who's going to come and sprinkle some sort of dust over my franchise? And it doesn't matter whether or not I have a quarterback. I'm going to have some leader who's going to coach my guys up.
See, my objection with the Fire McDaniel crowd is who's going to replace him. Okay, whenever anybody says, any fan says, we got to fire that guy, fire McDaniel, I'm like, who's next? Is he better?
Belichick? You guys want Belichick?
I'm not fire the coach guy, but I think I've seen
48
enough.
straight days.
But
you are fire the coach guy.
But
yes,
you are fire the coach guy.
But
you're
exactly
nothing more.
who
You are nothing more than fire the coach guy.
Yeah.
Paul Maurice would like a word.
I apologize to Paul Maurice to his face, and I told him that I love him. All right, so you don't get to keep holding that over my head.
I'm with you.
Eventually, we move past it. Okay,
I agree.
So you just haven't fired Spo.
But I look at Mike McDaniel, and I ask myself, is this a coach who can lead a team to a Super Bowl? And my answer is no. And if my answer is no, what are we doing?
Yeah, but your answer is no to anybody right now that I put in that position given their quarterback problem.
Yes.
There's not a coach. Like, if I say Belichick right now, is that a coach that could lead them to a Super Bowl? Yes or no? Belichick.
I suppose. I mean, because he's done it. But I don't want Belichick as my coach.
That's crazy.
The Raiders thought that about Pete Carroll, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're hiring a big name, and what? What does that mean?
Let me explore this with all of you, though. Just in learning over the last 5 years, so many of the things that I did not know about what leadership requires, and still not being very good at some of those things. I do think that we consistently overvalue that stuff. Now, it doesn't mean that Vrabel and Sean Payton can't have success in multiple places. But the conversation we're presently having about McDaniel, the fan base, I believe, will be satiated if it's simply addition by subtraction. Just get rid of him. I want someone else who represents hope because that guy makes me feel hopeless. And I want Zaslow to read some from Greg Cody's column here because I don't know what you disagreed with. And I will tell you that for about 20 years, Jonathan Zaslow has been sending me texts that are simply the headline on some Cody column where it is the most obvious thing that anyone could say. Now, the headline writers have not done Cody any favors over the years, but now Cody writes his own headlines, so there's no one else to blame. Cody writes his own headlines.
Is that right?
Because newspapers are dying.
Right.
That's correct.
Oh, it's not because like you're at a status where you're allowed to do it. It's because there aren't enough people working?
That's pretty much it. Now, there is one editor who's liable to change a headline or tweak it or, put a word in there.
I would have figured it's a respecting. No, Greg makes his headlines.
I do make my headlines. And if they're bad headlines, the problem is you're limited, and not to get too inside journalism, you're limited to a word count and a character
What
count.
is the headline on this particular column?
This is from yesterday.
Yesterday's Miami Herald Greg Cody column. We're happy to have the local sports historian in with us today. A big football week in Miami.
Dolphins with no answers at QB as Miami Ewers crushed by Pats. Is that your headline?
Yes. Yeah. There's only so much you can say in those number of characters.
You don't want to give it away.
Don't apologize for the headline. It's a fine headline.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's a decent headline.
Sounds like you're doubting your choice there a little bit.
Apologizing for it.
I'm doubting every choice the Dolphins have right now.
No, you're doubting your choice in headline is what I'm saying.
Oh, no, the headline's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, if people who don't like the headline.
What are you objecting to in the column?
Well, first of all, the first sentence here in the column, circumstances could have been worse for Ewers on Sunday. They could have required that he play with his throwing hand tied behind his back. I will tell you right there, you've hooked me. You brought me in. That's the first line. Now I'm in. Now I'm continuing to read. Okay, we're talking about tying a quarterback's hand behind his back. You got me. Okay. But the main part that I disagree with is obviously Tua related. All right.
Yeah.
Giving up on Tua, who is in his prime. That right now you lose me. Okay.
He's in his chronological prime.
You're not in your prime anymore. If you were a good quarterback and now you're terrible, that's not your prime anymore.
Prime's an age thing, though. I'm with my dad on that. When you say someone's in their prime, you're just talking about age.
You're stuck on the age thing. No, prime is you're at the part of your career where you're going to play your best. You're stuck on the age part.
Yeah, good quarterbacks have bad seasons. I don't know if you know that or not. Good quarterbacks do have off years.
It's condescending, but I'm going to let it go.
Tua, now, if you present me, if anybody can say the neurological reports are bad, Tua physically in his brain is less than he used to be and less than he needs to be. If you tell me that, then I'm on that side. But right now, lacking that neurological evidence, all I see is a quarterback who made a Pro Bowl a couple of years ago and had a bad season this year. He had a bad season.
Let me ask you, do you indeed lack that neurological evidence? Because you don't have the data the Dolphins have, but we have a whole bunch of public commentary that has made us wonder openly around here, hey, is he right? Do we know Look, man, this CTE stuff is complicated, okay? The biggest New York shooting that there's been in 20 years, somebody was shooting the NFL building, said he had CTE, and it was learned that he did have CTE. What's going on with Antonio Brown right now, this Hall of Fame, when he gets into the Hall of Fame, that's going to be weird for everybody because of whatever it is that's going on with him. And
I'm taking the under on that.
Yeah.
You don't think he belongs in the Hall of Fame?
That's a different question.
I think
I don't know anyone's voting for him.
I think the voters will be like, we'll be your guardrail.
Let's take a look at some tweets.
We all agree that would be awkward, so we're just gonna go ahead and handle this one.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is Antonio Brown going to make the Hall of Fame? Now, Phillip Rivers kicks his 5 years down the line, right? So he doesn't have to be with all of these guys that retired. He can get into an easier class 5 years from now.
I think Phillip Rivers helped his Hall of Fame case by coming back.
He was one of those guys because he played in this era.
Even though he didn't win a game.
He played in that era where is he first ballot? Is he a first ballot guy? He definitely helped himself.
How could he have helped himself?
Because
he was 0-3.
Dude, that was legitimately one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in the history of sports.
That's Hall of Fame stuff we saw.
That was crazy. He was not bad.
That is the only time I've ever seen anybody play in the NFL. Like, I don't know if you guys can you guys find the photo? Was it Sonny Jurgensen? Who's the famous photo of a quarterback? It might have been Y.A. Tittle on their knees, on the floor, sweating.
Y.A. Tittle, Giants.
Yeah, get that photo for me so that people can see how old some of these old quarterbacks used to look. Phillip Rivers is the first time I've seen someone in a football uniform at the position being like, oh, he's got a total big giant belly. He's got a dad body. Like, he has not been working out for 5 years. That uniform's not slimming on him.
People are going to forget that he was winless. And people are, if they're going to apply that context, they better apply the context that he went up against Mike McDonald's defense, he went up against Rob Saleh's defense, and he just bombed in, and he was fine.
Hall of Famer.
Let me ask you guys this question when you guys sit here and talk about exciting name coaches, okay? Who had Mike McDonald being 15-2 under 40 years old?
A lot of people liked him.
15-2 on the road.
He was a highly touted DC.
Mike,
I liked him.
Mike, but 15.
I did.
15-2.
Answering your question.
15-2 on the road
I
with
like him.
Geno Smith and Sam Darnold as your quarterbacks. That's not something anybody could have predicted.
Stop applying context and make it seem more improbable, Dan. I just liked him as a head coach.
Look, we loved Mike McDaniel at one point, right? Right now, Ben Johnson is that guy. Liam Cohen is that guy. Let him have a losing season.
Duval.
Yes, exactly. Let him have a losing season and see how long that love lasts.
I like how Greg has to acknowledge the drop.
What?
Usually we just play noises and we let them go, and therefore the audience.
Okay,
you don't have to thank your son,
Right,
for playing the Duval drop. We keep it moving.
Great timing.
I love it.
You're a little rusty.
I am a little rusty.
Can we revisit, please, Greg Cody at the holiday party? Can we revisit the surgical airstrike that was Greg Cody getting beer from every avenue, from an assortment of different people, putting out requests to everybody to bring him beers?
Every time I talked to my mom at that party, she was scurrying, looking for your next beer because you had sent her off to find it.
It's a weird dynamic with your mother because she both criticizes me for
But wants
drinking
to
too
help.
much and enables my drinking.
Was there
But
any point
that's
that
a
you
whole nother story.
Was there any point that you felt bad that you were like you were asking multiple servers?
This is wrong. No, what happened was the server comes up to me.
Multiple servers.
And to be polite, I order another drink.
No, but see that would happen to me, and the server would come up to me. I'd be like, "Thank you, he's already taken care of me." And you're just like, "Yeah, bring me to. I want you to bring me stuff."
I
also.
think at one point he had one in each hand and two just sitting at a table. Like, I think there was at one point 4 beers.
Well, was the server confused?
Oh, yeah. And I think like Lewis at one point is like, "Hey, Greg," and my dad didn't want to give him up. People were like, "Oh, there's obviously free beers here. Can I grab one?"
Okay, Lewis took a drink, which I donated to a charitable cause, Lewis. And El Hassan stole 2 or 3 beers from me.
They're not stealing if you have 4.
I mean, I didn't
there's
say
2
bring
sitting on
me
the-
4 beers. I can only drink them so fast.
Have you had so many beers that you forgot El Hassan's first name?
I mean,
You mean what?
hey. No,
Read more from that column and what you disagree with in there.
Yeah, so, Dolphins recently hired former Cowboys Hall of Fame quarterback turned TV broadcaster Troy Aikman as a consultant in the search for a replacement. I've been told Miami also will tap into Aikman's expertise at the position to help navigate the Tagovailoa dilemma and whether Ewers seems the answer. But give me a thought right there. What do you think of the Aikman hire? I need your opinion there. Your columnist.
They've got an expert on concussions.
What do I think of the Aikman hire? I don't know that he has an expertise on finding a general manager. They must think he does. I don't know what his experience is there. I don't know whether they hired him to ask him questions about the guy they want or to have him present guys that he wants. I don't know what that machination is. So I can't fully answer that. I mean,
that's Stephen Ross choosing someone who's more connected to league inner circles than he is, but you could have gotten Joe Buck to do it as well if you wanted to.
Just grammar question. You guys are writers. Is it machination or machination?
I think it's machination.
I always thought it was machination.
I thought it was machinations.
Never heard of it.
That's nuts.
You don't
I
know.
always thought it was mash with an SH sound, even though it's spelled CH.
Machinations, according to the internet.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Internet's
Was that
never
helpful?
wrong.
With an S at the end.
Can you get me the sound, please, of Greg Cody trying to pronounce the first name of the most explosive University of Miami player in I don't know how many years?
Malaki.
Ohio State shut down Malaki Toney, and it didn't matter because Miami had more ways to beat Ohio State than just one electric wide receiver.
Yeah, they were bracket coveraging him the entire game, a huge sign of respect. A cool note that my friend David Lake, who covers the Miami Hurricanes really well, he passed along after the game that following the game, Malachi Toney reached out to Caleb Downs, who actually had a whale of a game and is going to be
He's going to be like a top 3 pick in the draft.
Yeah, really, really good player. And he's like, hey, what did you see out there? How can I get better? That's the kind of guy that Malachi Toney is. That second fumble, and it's a little scary, especially when
he's fumbled 3 times in 2 games, and they haven't lost 2 of them.
And if you're familiar with South Florida high school sports lore, Malachi Toney fumbling is a big deal.
Is that right?
Yeah. Ruben Bain reminds him often about that. And that second fumble recovery, this is the most instinctual player I've ever seen at the University of Miami, and we've had Santana Moss out there. He did not pick his head up. Just like if that happens to me in a video game, I turn it off. He just turns, continues in one fluid motion, picks up a loose ball on the ground with his left hand, gathers it, and we keep going on our way. Like he got 2 forced fumbles on him, but he recovered both, and that was a huge play. But Malachi Toney, yeah, he wasn't explosive in the game. They took him out. They wanted to dare Miami to beat him with other guys, and they did. But one thing that is not reported about Miami, C.J. Daniels and Malachi Toney, especially Malachi Toney, who had one of the biggest blocks in that game, coming inside from the slot in motion and laying a huge block, is these guys block incredibly well.
Fletcher knows this, and this is why Fletcher was so supportive as an older player. Like when he had that fumble against Texas A&M that could have cost them the season, you had a situation where Fletcher was talking about the things that he said to Malachi Toney as the older player on the team, because Toney was broken by that, and he's fumbled a lot. They played 2 big games where everyone's expecting him to have the electric play, and he had the punt return against Texas A&M where he tripped over his own feet, and it's the reason he didn't get the touchdown because he tripped at the end. So he's trying to do the big thing because he's announced himself to America in the first game he played as a Hurricane. There's never been a Hurricane like this, 17 years old.
Crazy.
He should be in high school.
Who can do all of these things. He's 18 now, but here's Fletcher talking about what it is that he said and did with Tony in trying to encourage him when he was just head down in the fourth quarter of the game against Texas A&M when he thought he had lost the season possibly.
Player today, I was more impressed with you as a teammate. Yes, when Malachi Tony fumbled, you was the first one over there.
Yes, sir.
What'd you tell him?
Man, I saw his head going down, and I immediately had to go to him because when in high school together, I remember he had a play just like that, and he fumbled, he dropped it, and he was like, Mark, man, this is my second time doing this. I don't want to let you down. I said, bro, you will never let me down. I said, this season you have been balling. Everything has been, he works for it, but everything has been going your way. But, man, God just want to see how bad you want it. He going to put you through a little adversity. I said, please don't do that to me right now. Nah, because you too blessed for that. Pick your head up and just look what God presented for him. Yeah. That was just all God, man. He just had to believe.
Among the things that I found impressive about the first 2 games of the playoffs that the Hurricanes played is I didn't have that Texas A&M game being won on defense. Like, just did not have that at all being a defensive game. There was nobody this season who slowed Texas A&M. That 3 points was a half against South Carolina. I saw them struggle for 3 points, but to have Texas A&M and that quarterback go for 3 points where he's shut down. And then the Ohio State game is supposed to be a defensive game. But if you looked at what the totals were on Miami wasn't supposed to have 24 points in that game. Ohio State doesn't allow that point total. Now, I understand one of them was a pick 6, but Miami had to just control the game, sort of ball control offensively. They've won both of those games without the offense being explosive. The most explosive play they've had is Tony on a punt return. It wasn't because they're throwing the ball down the field at all.
Nobody would believe if you had said before the playoff began that they're going to limit Texas A&M and Ohio State to a combined 17 points. That would be beyond ludicrous. It would be crazy. You figure they're going to give up 17 points in a half against those 2 teams. They're good.
Not Ohio State. I don't necessarily assume that with Ohio State. They're pretty limited.
I'm a little confused. Like that's always been the path for this team. Like they had a good defense. It's not like your offense was going to go shot for shot if we had a high tempo game entering that game with Texas A&M. I pretty much thought that it had to be that way against Texas A&M and Ohio State.
Yeah, but 3 points though, Mike.
No, that was pretty crazy. But also I didn't have the context of there'd be 40-mile-per-hour gusts in this game.
Can you guys get for me, please? I don't know that I'm surprised that we haven't talked about this yet, and this is my error not talking about this since Greg Cody is here for the first time. What do you think should be the penalty for Mario Cristobal after what it is that he did to Ryan Day?
That was crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts. Do you believe that there should be some sort of punishment?
I'm surprised we have not heard more about that since the end of the game.
I saw a report that there's supposed to be an announcement today on it.
Greg, you don't seem to be what we're talking about.
I do, but what would you have them do?
Well, like, let's look at this video together. This is pretty egregious. It's not something I've ever seen before. What would I have him do? Like, I mean, that you can't be doing shit like that.
That's got to be an apology.
I'm surprised we haven't seen anything yet.
He hasn't said anything.
Just an apology? Greg, you think that requires just an apology?
Okay. Punching him in the face.
The camera angle doesn't do it.
All right.
In Mario's defense,
he called it a shove.
Is damning.
That looked more than a shove to me.
That was not just a shove. Where did you see him quoted? I haven't seen him talk about it anywhere. Greg, you see him.
What is their relationship?
Yeah, Tessie.
It's an important question.
Tessie, remember, Ryan Day is now 0-2 lifetime against Mario Cristobal. I heard from people that were around that it looks a lot worse than it was.
I mean, did they say something to him right before?
Let's play it for
Dad,
Greg.
You watched
again.
On the TV.
It doesn't seem like you've seen it.
No,
it seems like you haven't. It seems like you're bluffing. It doesn't seem like you know what we're talking about. It seems.
First of all,
he had to have said something.
First of all, it looks like AI. Obviously, I mean, it didn't happen. It's AI. I mean, you guys are insane.
You said you knew what the story was.
sure did.
You
Because
said
I've
you knew what the
seen that
story
before.
was.
I love the follow-up. What's their relationship?
I mean, it's a pretty good left hook. I got to give Mario credit
What's
for
their
that.
relationship? It's such an interesting.
He's 0-2
They're
lifetime.
playful that way. They're like it's like when I wrestle my pit bull. It doesn't. They're just two
No, this
apes
is the
who
danger.
wrestle when they
This
see
is
each
the
other.
danger of AI. Okay,
That's
this is
exactly
the danger
right.
of AI.
Gave us more than he did for the Jeremy brother bit. but-
He started at the beginning of that saying he knew the story we were talking about.
He
and
got
I've
into the-
seen that video.
He got into the same mode though of the Jeremy thing, where he was just kind of like, "What? What's their relationship? I'm confused here, so I'm just gonna be a little on the outskirts."
I'm still so mad about that.
the Jeremy thing where Jeremy did the show with his brother
Oh,
and
yeah,
his
yeah,
brother
yeah.
was sitting there and you
Right.
pretended
Yeah.
like you knew that it was not Jeremy the whole
Right.
time when you didn't know.
Yeah.
You did that same thing right now where you pretend you have this thing, okay? You're normally perfectly okay with us making
Right.
fun of you,
Yeah.
your vulnerabilities, and
You
the places that you don't
wanna
know
be,
things.
You feel like, oh wait, are they making fun
Left
of me
out.
here? I'm
You
just
don't wanna
gonna
be
sit
No,
left
he
out.
out.
wanted to be part of the club.
When I
is what
first
happened.
when I first saw that video, which wasn't today.
You wanted to know their relationship.
Yeah, because I didn't. When I thought it was real, it was so outrageous, and I'm thinking to myself, is that sometimes guys joke around.
Was
with
the
each
giveaway
other.
when Cristobal flexed like the Hulkster?
Look,
You did think that was real?
punch you in the shoulder pretty hard,
Greg, we're
it's
going to
just
play
us
this
being
video
friends.
again. This is under no circumstance have Friends ever played this way. Like in the history of Friends, there's never been roughhousing where this is the punch. And I think to myself afterward, but what was their relationship?
Back in my day, featuring in-flight magazines.
In-flight magazines. Slayed the pandemic. Traveling again. Big bird up. But something's different. I look in the seat pocket in front of me, and all I see is that cardboard pamphlet about the plane that nobody reads, the drink menu nobody needs, and the barf bag. Where's my in-flight magazine? Where did it go? Joni was right. Don't it always seem to go? You don't know what you got till it's gone. They paved paradise, put up a parking lot, and then stole my in-flight magazine. These staples of Americana predated even Greg Cody. Pan Am Airways published the first IFM in 1940. Now the high-flying mags are disappearing like donuts in a press box. Southwest Rag, augustly called simply The Magazine, is gone now. Delta Sky, gone. American Way, gone. Retired after 55 years. Alaska and Emirates Airlines, too, gone. Airline magazines falling from the sky one by one. Some others, like United Hemispheres, are now digital only. Blame the pandemic. COVID killed the in-flight magazine, or rather gave airlines an excuse to make a cutback like businesses did with remote meetings where the office buildings used to be. But more than that is to blame. The digital era stampeded the helpless handheld mag. In-flight entertainment and mobile browsing happened. Airlines have even claimed noble reasons for discontinuing their magazines, like how removing all of them makes planes lighter, which saves on fuel. Sounds like malarkey. Hurtling cabins once were full of rattling newspaper pages held wide. Then those disappeared. And then I was the last flyer still leafing through an in-flight magazine while everybody else was softly chuckling at a movie or listening to music with earbuds. I miss every bit of the airline magazine. The greeting from the airline president, the Penn and Teller at the Rio ad, the dating and hair restoration ads, and the one inviting me to invest in a home care franchise, things to do in Minneapolis, the list of top 10 steakhouses and America's best plastic surgeons, the crossword puzzle inevitably half-finished and poorly by a previous seat occupant. Oh, and the feature story on Southwest Customer Service Agent of the Month. You can't get that anywhere else. Most of all, I miss, anybody else remember Sky Mall? Oh, yes. My gosh. It was Amazon before Amazon, only at 30,000 feet. Talk about built-in marketing. Bored flyers stuck in a cabin for 3 hours slamming cocktails are liable to buy anything, which Sky Mall offered. I'll never forget the time, after 3 or 4 deep eddies, I accidentally bought a life-size Bigfoot garden gnome for $2,250. Airlines, I will gladly pay extra if the bag I check is a pound too heavy. I'll put up with your cancellations, and with a hot meal. This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Mike McDaniel without Tua is 4-9 and averages 14.3 points per game without Tua. And I don't know what you guys think a coach brings or can bring, but I did not have the Seattle Seahawks being able to make Kyle Shanahan's rushing offense and offense in general look totally incompetent. That's the most incompetent I have seen the 49ers offense look empirically. It's not even just me making it up. That's the worst that offense can look because they can run against anybody, and they could not run against Seattle. Dianna Russini is on with us now. She's the senior NFL insider for The Athletic. She's the host of the Scoop City podcast. She is immersed in all of this coaching carousel stuff. Look at her. I could see her taking texts, getting texts. She needs to find out what's going on with Eberflus in Dallas. He's been fired in Dallas. She needs to know. Tell us what's going on, Dianna. What's got you? Everyone's insane with coaching carousel stupidity.
Well, it moves so fast, but also it is kind of sick how, we quickly will report a firing and the responses are always, well, who are they hiring? Right? Like everyone, there's no grace, there's no mourning. Everyone's just ready for the next, ripping it through. But it's an interesting time right now. Okay. Because you have a lot of teams actually watching to see what coaches are going to become available or which, coordinators are going to maybe get fired here. So a lot of organizations are kind of making a decision almost based on what other teams are going to do as well. Like that's always like the second layer to this. Yesterday we had those firings that I don't think any of those were surprising to you guys. Maybe the Raheem one got you.
Pete Carroll after a year.
That surprised you?
After a year?
He's a million years
old.
old.
I know, but he's pretty accomplished. A year, and he can't do it anymore? He doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
You watch them?
Okay.
Respectfully, I think we can have a conversation about Pete Carroll as a head coach as being tremendous, okay? But I don't think we're going to remember this time in Vegas. I don't want to remember this time in Vegas when I think about Pete Carroll. I think what he had there in terms of how that was set up, I always felt like there wasn't a good connection between what they wanted to do in the front office, what the coaching staff wanted to do. It just felt a little disjointed there from the start. And this is what happens. You don't win a lot of games. Any
chance Bill Belichick gets a head coaching job in the NFL?
How are you not commenting on the fact that my camera looks like it's drunk right now? And it's totally my fault. I'm sorry, I kicked it. Ridiculous. I gotta say, Joey's puking in the other room right now.
What happened with Joey? What's going on with Joey?
Oh man, we got 10 days off from daycare. They go back. I got a call right before I hopped on. Come get Joey. Threw up on everybody. Yeah. So he's in the other room watching trains. He gave me this. This is going to be something I'm going to give him in a little while.
He's still got the egg obsession. He hasn't outgrown the egg obsession.
No,
yet?
He's obsessed with it. So we got him one of those Play-Doh eggs. So it's like. It's not a real one, so we don't keep finding the rotten eggs around the house. And he knows. He's like, this is a fake egg. I need real. I want to be able to see the yolk and crack it all over the house. So, yeah. No, I don't think Bill Belichick is a serious candidate in the NFL. I don't. I think his best shot was probably before North Carolina. And when I say best shot, meaning at least some organizations talked about it, right? And obviously we knew with Atlanta before they fired Raheem the year before, there was a chance there. But I have not spoken to a team right now.
You guys aren't doing the coaching carousel stuff with enthusiasm. Greg Cody's knee gave. Roy, you've been indifferent.
I know all your vibes are very low today. What is it? Are you not entertained by this cycle because there's not a lot of great
squatting? We've been doing squats for 15 minutes, and Dan thinks it's sustainable.
You've been doing it for 3 minutes.
Bill Belichick's a college coach. Marcus Freeman announced that he's returning to Notre Dame. Are there any other college coaches in play for NFL jobs?
No, I'm not in touch with any team right now that is in the college market. I just think a lot of these teams are nervous about that first-time head coaching experience, right? Because we've seen not a lot have had success. Ben Johnson is obviously the poster for, wow, if we could just get someone like this. I just don't think in this crop of candidates there's someone like that. Liam Cohen done an amazing job with Jacksonville.
Duval.
Right? And Duval, although, I mean, we're kind of, what better way to give it back to all of us for mocking him for that? Than
these guys are making fun of me, saying my carousel's no good. I'm not on one of the horses. I'm on one of the chariots.
Yeah, me too.
We're all on the chariot.
They're together, Dan. Why are you still moving there?
None of you were moving.
The first choice.
Because Cody was doing it. Jamie was doing it. You were not doing it.
Horse.
You weren't doing it.
Horse, Dan.
Get on the horse.
What were you saying?
Ow!
Who picks the chariot? No one goes on that.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. On the merry-go-round, does anyone pick the chariot?
Yeah, when you go on last, there's nothing left.
Yes, that was the worst, right? As a kid, when you're like, I get the pony.
Can I wait for the next one?
Give me something exciting on the coaching carousel. Something that's not Eberflus flooding your texts.
Oh, yeah, we're already past that. I'm watching Washington. I want to see what they do here. There's been some reporting that I've done over the last few days about Cliff Kingsbury. What's his future going to be there? Is he going to get another job as a head coach somewhere? Or is Washington also going to consider moving on from him?
I mean, come on, though, Dianna. He looked pretty good when Jane Daniels was healthy. Him and McLaurin played 3 games together this year.
Correct. And the quarterback and Cliff have a very good relationship, and you can't blame him for injuries. But I think there's also another factor in all this when you're looking at the Washington offense, which is teams figured it out as well, right? So there has to be, I think, a part of this that has to evolve. And look, Dan Quinn wants it to be a certain way. So I'm interested in that. I'm watching that. And then the bigger one is Baltimore, right? Like,
you think that's going to happen? That's a real thing. The last 4 seasons of Baltimore have ended in unbelievably heartbreaking fashion. Yes. All 4 of the seasons are sort of a randomness at the end that ends up happening that is just totally crushing. That is just random ball, Dianna. It's not the coach's fault.
It's not. But look, how many times have we looked at these organizations and said, you know, maybe change is good. Maybe this would be good. Now, I don't actually think Baltimore will fire him. Of course, now that I said it, that's going to happen because that's what happens on the show. I do think there could be some tweaking, some changes, right? We'll see what they do at the coordinator position. But to end it like that at a time, in a year where, you know, you don't have Joe Burrow playing in the playoffs and you've got a shot to go
Roy,
to do the damage, like,
why are you not carouseling? Why are you? You're sitting there staring into your phone, telling me you're carouseling correctly.
I'm trying to check my heart rate right now.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Wow. And I'm in the cart.
What was that? Whoa!
Dianna, what is the text you just got? I need people to pay attention to this show and what we're doing here. I need Roy to be doing the carousel with some enthusiasm.
I'm having a heart attack, Dan.
And I need Dianna to get.
I got a text from somebody about Brian Flores. They just asked. They said, "What do you think the chances of Brian Flores getting a head coaching job?" And it's a good question. I think the Dallas Cowboys are keeping an eye on Brian Flores. I know Minnesota wants to keep him around. I know he loves being in Minnesota. The only reason I know that is I just saw him last week. on Christmas when I was doing that Netflix thing, and he told me straight up. He's like,
told you straight up
that he enjoys being there, and it's a good organization to be part of. We'll see how this shakes out though, because I do think he'll get some calls. The one I want to since we're just gonna go down this rabbit hole of like what I'm curious about, because look, part of my job is to go find it out, but there's some questions I don't know the answer to yet. Is Tom Brady gonna try to bring familiarity into that building, right? With a Brian Flores, with a Brian Dable, right? Could that be something he's comfortable with? Because did you guys notice yesterday in the press release, you saw Tom Brady's name in there? It's like he came out from the shadows. Like, thank you for admitting that you are all over this organization and that you're part of it, you know? So I'm interested to see what they do there. Now, the other part of the Vegas thing that I'm watching is the Max Crosby scenario. Do you guys think that the Vegas Raiders would trade Max Crosby?
So he leaves the facility and he wanted to play in the last game, and they didn't make him have surgery, right? But he needed surgery. What is the status? Anybody would want him, obviously.
Yeah, so I think, look, Max is that ultimate competitor type. He's the face of that franchise. He doesn't ever want to not play. And from what I understand, they told him to sit because they thought he was injured, right? But I think when you look at it from his perspective, he's been injured since October, right? So it's like they're obviously shutting him down for the sake of the organization. Why are you going to put Max Crosby out there when you're losing? And maybe even trying to lose, right? Like, maybe not trying, but I think it's all obvious that Vegas was really hoping to get that number one overall pick.
This is the saddest carousel ever I'm looking at in this other room right now.
That's not a carousel.
Like, what if I just had this sound?
I don't know what Zaz and Cody are doing.
Well,
I'm very
just
disappointed
Greg,
by
every time I look up
your
at Greg,
hands
he looks like a floating body, and I'm worried about his health.
Yeah, it
Because
does.
he's just like...
We all
Thank
are.
you, Diana. Thank you.
Yes, I don't know why you're thanking her for
My
worrying.
horse-
Greg, how was
my
your
horse is
Greg,
drunk.
how was your holiday? I didn't even ask you.
It was great. It was
was
really,
good.
really nice. We had a wonderful time. It's
All right,
maybe the
excellent
best
work.
ever.
That kind of thing.
Excellent
Maybe the
work by
best.
you.
Maybe the best holiday ever.
You're in mid-season
Really?
form.
Yes.
You know what's funny? My family, remember, guys, I told you that I wasn't going to host Christmas because I had to work that day?
Yes.
I don't know if they're doing this to just be annoying or just be mean. I cannot tell you how many of my family members have messaged me to tell me what a wonderful Christmas day they had at my house. Like, wouldn't you try to avoid telling me that? Because I wasn't there?
Yeah.
I wasn't here.
They're laying a guilt trip on you. is what
No,
they're
I
doing.
think they're celebrating the fact that you did a lovely thing while you were away, and everyone enjoyed themselves, and it was successful. And they're sharing with you. They missed you, and they're pulling you into it. Cody, did you tear your?
No. Dan, no one said we missed you. My mom said, that's what you left Christmas for? I saw you for 2 seconds holding a piece of steak. I'm like, that's what I did.
Cody, did you rip your pants doing the coaching carousel?
It's unconfirmed whether it happened during the carousel or it just got revealed during the carousel. But yeah, there's a little tear there.
Diana, can you explain something to me? Because I think this is foolhardy. To assume that Tom Brady, Troy Aikman, and Matt Ryan all have the skills to run entire organizations just because they were great quarterbacks is foolhardy.
I think a lot of people are looking at the organizational setup in Jacksonville right now. You see Baselli is part of that front office, right? And he, from everything I understand, has done a really good job of kind of keeping that front office together because you have new people there, right? You have James Gladstone there, you have Liam Cohen. And I think that's been the example. I think people are seeing in San Francisco with John Lynch, obviously the former player. Right now, because a lot of these owners just are copying because they don't know. Look, the Tom Brady thing, I've said this whole time, it's obvious he's part of it, but it's the half in, half out that I'm curious about, right? Because Tom lives in Florida, he's doing Fox, Matt Ryan wants to do TV. You can't do that job half, right? Like, you got to be there all the time because I think that's important for the building.
Diana, do you think there was much conversation with the Jets to get rid of Aaron Glenn after just the 1 year?
I think that they want to give him a chance. I think there's been some really good things there that they believe in. And I don't think Woody Johnson wants to fire another coach already. I think there's a lot of different factors. I can just tell you, a few weeks ago, I felt better about the direction of the New York Jets. And then just based on talking to people and talking to some of the teams that they faced afterwards and the way they reviewed what they just saw, it's not good. And I do think a lot of times in first year opportunities, coaches are in over their head and they have to learn. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had over the years with coaches after their first year and they're in their second year or they're finishing up their second year and they reflect like, oh my God, I didn't know what I was doing. In fact, coaches now talk about it that have just been fired. I had no idea what I was doing that first year. I think it's that hard. I don't think anyone's ever really prepared.
Dianna, what did you think of the Dolphins hiring Aikman as a general manager advisor in their search? And do you have any names of people who you think the Dolphins are or should be looking at?
And what are you hearing about whether McDaniel will actually be there next year or not?
Have you guys noticed that no one has really come out from the Miami side to say Mike is safe? Like, I'm watching that right now of just like, that seems strange. Every other team that is safe puts out a statement. I know he did his press conference, but some of the quotes, right, are like, I'm safe until I'm told I'm not. Do you hear Joey, by the way? Just losing his mind.
I'm worried about Mikey. Joey's getting a little bit too much of the attention, and I want to know what's going on with Mikey. But before we do that, because we've got limited time with you, give us what you have here on the Dolphins.
Okay, so the Dolphins tapped into Troy Aikman because of Troy's actual connections to all these teams. And they really wanted, from what I understand, get an honest assessment of which direction they need to go in. And look, I know you guys know this, but a lot of organizations ask reporters their thoughts, their opinions. Miami didn't want to do that. They're like, we don't want any bias. We want someone to come in here and say, here's who I think is a good leader. Here's who I think is a good coach. And obviously for right now, they think that's Mike. Now, in terms of the direction of GM, there's also a pattern, if you notice. Almost every single person on the list that they put out has a connection to Mike, right? So that tells me that they probably want someone that can work well with their head coach rather than start over with two guys speaking two different languages.
Half the list is 49ers people.
Yeah. Well, where's Mike come from, right? And even the guy from Green Bay is familiar with Mike. So until I see a name that Alec Halaby, I think was the only one that I saw that I don't think has a direct connection, but I'm sure there's something there that I'm missing. I haven't seen any names that's not connected to Mike. So that's good. That bodes well for the head coach. But I think they're really just trying to get on the same page. And look, they've had a head start. They've had the whole year almost, right, to figure this out and sort this out. And I don't know what the plan is.
So hold on a second. It's just a coincidence that, Aikman's been brought in to help them search for a GM, and almost the entire list of people that they're interviewing right now have connections to Mike McDaniel?
Meaning like, are you asking me that's what Troy thinks works?
Maybe that was the list, and then now they brought Troy in, and they're going to have new names.
Well, I mean, I guess maybe that's possible, but that's just, it seems like a hell of a coincidence that Aikman's suggestions are guys that are all also tied to Mike McDaniel.
Well, maybe that's Troy Aikman's counsel. Maybe that's
Joey's fine.
Do you have to go take care of your son? Why don't you go do that? I can't have your son throwing up in another room and the mother being negligent, just sitting here because she's taking Eberflus text.
It's all really good time.
Oh, come on. No, Joey, there's an egg.
So sweet.
Yes, everything's okay now. You have an egg.
No, look, I think Troy Aikman understands there has to be alignment, right? You can't bring in a general manager that doesn't, if they're all in on the head coach, and if that's the decision that they're doing to move forward, then you need to give him somebody that's going to be able to work with him the way. Now, remember, this is another thing that I think is interesting. Everyone likes to model the 49ers scenario, right? Yeah. Kyle Shanahan is the one that has all the say there, right? He's the one who brought in John Lynch. And Mike's going to have a say here in these interviews. He told us that.
Joey, what are your thoughts on the Eagles sitting all their starters this weekend, Joey? They sat all their starters to get rest, and now they're going to be rested in the playoffs. What do you think of that?
Do you like the Eagles?
Speechless.
No.
No. Do you like eggs?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Joey.
Yeah.
I'm Joey.
Joey.
Hi, Joey.
Joey, what do you think of the Greg's Lobo's firing defensive coordinator turd cartwheel?
Okay.
Say bad.
Bad.
Yeah.
All right.
Joey, how old do you think that man is?
Can we
that
show
just asked
Greg?
that question?
Let's show my dad here. Let's show Greg. How
Who's
old
that?
is this? How old
Who's
is that
that?
guy?
How old's that man?
Who's that?
He's thinking.
Who's that?
Hello.
What's his name? What's
Joey,
that guy's name?
not too many questions. Joey, how old is the person you're presently looking at?
Yeah.
How old is he?
Yeah.
How old?
3.
3.
All right, Joey.
He used to be.
Aw.
Joey, we love you. We talk a lot about you. You need some work on the interviews, but it's okay. We are big fans of Joey. Be careful with the germs on the mic flag, mic shield. We appreciate the time, Diana. I wanted to ask you about Mikey. He went to band.
Nobody cares.
Okay.
This
She got
is
pulled
just one
over.
of those days.
She did
Oh,
get
I
pulled
did get-
over? Diana got
So,
pulled over?
real quick. Okay. So, Joey and I are in the car the other day, and all this coaching stuff is starting. I left my purse on the counter. I didn't have my license. Guy pulls me over. He's losing his mind, just like he just did. Cop comes to the window, and I must have just looked like a wreck, right? Because I'm like, here we go. I don't have my wallet. My son's screaming. I'm getting pulled over because I'm on my phone. I'm a horrible mother. And I opened the window. I said, hi, sir. I go, I know. He goes, you seem like you have enough problems. Have a good day, ma'am. And he let me go.
Oh, look at that. The
I was
benefits of a demon child.
Yeah, basically, the cop was like, the danger that I'm in standing here dealing with you is much greater than you texting and driving.
She is the senior NFL insider for The Athletic. She's the host of the Scoop City podcast. We love having her around. Thank you, Diana. We will talk to you again next week.
All right, there's more news tomorrow on the Dolphins. I want to hop back on if that's cool.
Yes, of course. Always
Okay,
welcome
good.
here. Open door. So we had a lot of football stuff from yesterday that we did not get to, including the Eagles sitting their starters, and I think as defending champions. I'm not going to question their decisions to rest people and try to get them healthy when they seem to know more about how to keep people healthy than all the other teams in the league because they don't lose many people to injury very often. I was watching that telecast on Sunday, and they were saying that the Washington team has more games lost to injury than any other, and that Philadelphia has been remarkable the last 2 years in terms of not losing people to injury. But among the things that happened yesterday that we just did not get to because now it's normal, Cam Little had a 67-yard field goal. Just that's what he does. So Jacksonville, there is the chance that Jacksonville against Buffalo is getting the game decided not by Trevor Lawrence or by Josh Allen, by just Jacksonville being able to get to its own 40-yard line. If Jacksonville can just get to its own 40-yard line and has a kicker that can kick 67-yard field goals, then they're in a better position than most of the teams who don't have that.
Imagine if they get to the AFC Championship and they're facing Denver in Denver, and he hits like a 75-yard field goal. He'd be capable, mile high. Like, if that ends up being the difference, that he's just able to hit multiple from 70, it feels like it changes the sport.
I think, well, yes. And I think the most interesting part of that, and I know we had this conversation in that Dolphin game where Mike McDaniel went for 4th and goal inside the 5 and a tie game under 2 minutes left. He went for the touchdown, and they actually got stuffed. Like, we've had this conversation before. The most interesting part to me is, with that kicker in particular, if it's a late-game situation and maybe the Jaguars or, the team that has the football against Jacksonville is down 1 or down 2, and instead of going for a field goal, you're like, no, we kind of got to go for a touchdown here.
Well, I wanted to ask you guys this question based on just how much has changed, and it's insane. College, pros, it is truly insane to see all of these people, I'm going to say in the last 5 years, realize together we've been doing it all wrong on 4th down. Do you guys remember the amount of shit that Bill Belichick got one time for going for it on 4th and 1 on the other side of the 50
Against the
because
Colts.
he didn't want Peyton Manning to have, because he had Tom Brady. It was 4th and 1, and instead of punting, he went for it, failed, and then Peyton Manning won the game. How ridiculous does that week of conversation seem now?
It was one of the stories of the year.
That fourth and short. Check for me what yard line he was on. I'd like to remember the specific.
It was like just inside the
weeks
40,
of shows
maybe?
we did.
No, Belichick got criticized so much for going for it on fourth and short with Tom Brady because he didn't want to give the ball back to Peyton Manning, because all of these coaches have realized over the last 4 years, hey, it's easier to get 10 yards with 4 downs than it is with 3.
Yeah, but that used to be the hard and fast line. If you were in your own territory, you punted. Even if it was 4th and 1 at your 48.
I don't think Belichick was in his own territory. He may have been. He may have been close
his
to
own
the 50.
28, 4th and 2.
No, it wasn't his own.
It was 4th and 2 from his own 28-yard line. The Patriots led Peyton Manning and the undefeated Colts by 6 points with just over 2 minutes to play.
Wow.
I didn't remember that as his own 28, though.
That's crazy.
I remember one where he was like in his own territory, and it was crazy.
The whole thing has changed where all of these guys have realized, no, I'm going to bet on me. I'm going to bet on my offense. I'm going to bet on the ability to get 1, 2, or 5 yards. And largely, even given America's general allergy to math, everyone has stopped with that criticism, correct? There is now no criticism of coach who goes for it on 4th and short. That's the new normal. Everyone understands that 4th and short, the analytics now demand, just go for it. It's the smarter play.
I mean, it's not absolute.
No. But what criticism have you heard? I heard we were yelling for a little while because of Mike McDaniel on the goal line. Greg Cody did that. But largely, I don't hear very much criticism anymore of aggressive coaches on 4th and short. You can't be sitting here coaching and leading that sport where you're demanding aggression from others and then your sphincter gets too tight on 4th and short because you're afraid to lead.
I think a lot of it has to do with the time on the clock. In the case of McDaniel going for it and eschewing what would have been a winning field goal in less than 2 minutes left. And by the way, in that game, the opponent did not have any timeouts left. In that case, you have to trust your defense a little bit, especially when the opponent doesn't have any timeouts.
Yeah, I think the only time that it's met with criticism is like someone's, take the points. It's passing up a potential field goal in order to go for 4. That's the only time I think
I'm usually pretty aggressive when it comes to that stuff, but the lack of taking the points and applying, like, what's the game flow here? The possessions are shrinking.
Yeah.
Take the points. That's kind of bothering me a little bit.
You'd think there'd still be a coach out there, like, doing it old school. But to Dan's, like, they're all kind of afraid now, and they go the opposite. It's like, I'm going to go over-aggressive so I don't get criticized.
Probably is. There's probably still a few
but
guys.
if we were getting all of this wrong, okay, if for all of the time we've been watching football before the last 5 years, everyone had it wrong on 4th down, given the number of young coaches having success now, given the number of Mike McDonald's that come out of, or Ben Johnsons that come out of being a coordinator and totally change the way that franchises are built, don't you think that we now have to make a movement toward understanding that the Pete Carrolls of the world are not the guys that you go to anymore?
I'm not sure what you're doing there. You're applying this as if it's like some like wave of the future that is only ushered in by young guys. Pete Carroll's going for it. Dan Quinn is going for it. Like everybody in the NFL is doing it.
I'm changing subjects here. I'm not talking anymore about the 4th and short. I'm talking about who you give your organization over to, because it was the new thinkers that changed that. I remember John Gruden and Bill Parcells saying, I go with my gut. I don't do it on 4th and short. That's not how we do it. They were the expertise there. I'm just using that as one example. Mike McDonald, I'm going to give you this stat here on what it is you just saw, where Seattle went to San Francisco. San Francisco has been, for the last 5 years, whether you like it or not, or whether you think that Kyle Shanahan is overrated, they've been the model franchise for whatever players we have out there. We're going to be able to do those things, impressive things with those players. We're going to run the ball. Even if it's the last guy in the draft at quarterback, we're going to figure out if it's Garoppolo. We're going to get to the final game somehow, no matter who's out. So Kyle Shanahan's the standard bearer here on new guys coming in can do it with anybody. And Mike McDonald comes in to San Francisco with the number 1 seed on the line. And Shield Kapadia writes, Sunday was the worst rushing performance for the 49ers since Kyle Shanahan became their head coach, according to Success Rate. A span of 9 years, 161 games, and no other defense had shut them down. quite like the Seahawks did. That's a 38-year-old person. 3 years ago, we thought Bill Belichick was the way to go there. Sean McVay has given us a new model, right? Because he was 33. Mike McDaniel had the number one passing offense in the sport as a very young man. Are you guys ready to let go of the idea that your coach has to be the grizzled veteran who has done it before, like Andy Reid or like Pete Carroll or like Bill Belichick, because you're going to have an assortment of people who are under 40 coaching these teams?
I think if you're an older coach and you've always gone by your gut feeling, quote unquote, you're never going to change. But now all the younger coaches and many of the middle-aged coaches are slaves to analytics. And there's actually a book on when you go for it and when you don't, depending on what yard line you're at. Like 4th and 2 from here, you go for it. 4th and 2 from 8 yards back, you don't go for it. And people are just slaves to that book, to what analytics tells them they should do based on what the likelihood is.
I think we're already past that. I think the Raiders Pete Carroll thing is an outlier. I think that what the Raiders were doing there, and probably Tom Brady in particular, the Raiders are such a lousy organization that I think they probably felt like, let's bring in someone who can stabilize things here. Pete Carroll. Let's also bring in Geno Smith, decent quarterback. We got him. He could stabilize things. We got Pete Carroll, could help put us in the right direction as an organization. And then 3 years from now, when we're kind of on solid footing, that's when we bring in the young head coach who's going to wind up taking over moving forward. And obviously it did not work out, but that's what I think was likely the line of thinking.
But sometimes it does, even though Dianna just said Washington's evaluating what's going on there. Dan Quinn did bring stability in a time of huge transition for that franchise, and they made it to an NFC championship game, and they just got hurt. I do think situationally bringing in the grizzled veteran type does make sense for a lot of people, but I think fans have moved on. Before in the NFL coaching carousel, if one guy got fired, it wasn't all that rare to see him get another job as soon as he hit the market, and just people hoping for a change of landscape. Now I think most fans are like, give me the next big thing, because guys like Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay have come into the league and taken it by storm.
One of the reasons I think that Giants job is a good job is because I think we've reinvented the way all of this leadership has to work right now, at least in part because of what's happening in Chicago, okay? You just saw Detroit's best window in organizational history close because their offensive coordinator went with the young quarterback in the division. They're going to be good for 10 years if their quarterback is healthy.
Right.
Their window just closed like that on Dan Campbell and Jared Goff because the young coordinator waited, and he's like, where's the first-round pick that I can get who's a young quarterback that another coach has squandered? Jackson Dart looks like a quarterback that somebody could do something like that with. You cannot look at what's happened in Jacksonville and Chicago and not have your mind altered on what leads this organization. It's not just the coach. It's the coach has to be at the hip with the quarterback, and the quarterback has to have the stability of, we're not going to have 5 offensive coordinators. We're going to keep getting better as a young quarterback during an actual prime, not a chronological prime, a Caleb Williams prime. We're going to keep getting better because we're going to keep giving this quarterback the stability of, he knows he has the boss's trust. He knows he's aligned with the boss, and they're both going to grow in their careers together. It's the new model.
So by that logic, wouldn't the Raiders' job be a really good job?
There's
right now?
no quarterback there.
Well, but they got the number one pick.
Number one pick, Mendoza.
Yeah, but there's no.
But Mendoza, he's the number one pick in a bad quarterback draft. I don't know that he's a consensus.
Have you seen his numbers against pressure? Like,
yeah.
Mendoza's a solid number one pick.
You think?
I know Todd McShay came out and he said he'd rather have Dante Moore. You have 2 options there.
This is how the Cuban quarterback has always been held down through time by the white sports writer.
Exclusion.
That's how it's always happened.
Look, you could argue that you don't like either of those quarterbacks. You have the number 1 overall pick. You now have draft capital to if there's another quarterback around the league. That's why I think you draft one, because what's the season?
Gotta draft him.
Kyler Murray. Maybe you could see if Joe Burrow is really pissed off, and maybe you offer that number 1 overall pick. But that's a good situation.
Yeah, no, I've seen a couple of mock drafts that have the Jets moving up and drafting Mendoza number 1. You don't know, but and I think Mendoza's great. He's a great college quarterback, deserved the Heisman. I'm just saying, I don't think there's universal consensus that he's, the next Peyton Manning or Tom Brady.
Everyone actually says that this is a bad quarterback draft, but Trevor Lawrence was a consensus number 1 overall pick, and it took many years and many offensive coordinators to get the right one and many years of growth from the quarterback to turn him into somebody who's got 18 touchdowns and 1 interception over the last 5 games. And now all of a sudden and trades that you had to make, but finally, how many coordinators does Trevor Lawrence have? Like, you have to have some stability with one of these young people learning this position over 5 years.
Is it a bad quarterback class because of Mendoza and Dante Moore, or is it a bad quarterback class because there's only 2?
It's considered both, actually. It's considered the reason Cam Ward went to number 1 the way that he did is because it was a weak overall year. Everybody there's nothing more valuable than value at quarterback. You have to have a contract like Drake Mays at the beginning so that you could build everything else. He's got to be good and faster than he's ever been. And the Chicago Bears specifically, such a great football town. Do you know how hard it is to be that great of a football town when you've never had a good quarterback? Like, Caleb Williams is the first time that franchise has had a quarterback where you're looking at them now and you're like, oh, my God, they're going to be good for the next 10 years if that guy doesn't get hurt, and they could just keep the coach there aligned with him.
No, that's true. They thought Jay Cutler was good, and that's how bad they were in contact. It's all and this has never changed. It's all the quarterback. It's not the head coach. That's why Sean Payton has reinvented himself in Denver, because Bo Nix happened to be pretty good. That's why the Giants' job is considered really good if you think Jackson Dart is really good. It's all the quarterback, and that's why the Dolphins in this town are spinning the wheels right now.
I don't think the Raiders' job is a good job. I really don't.
I don't either, because they don't have a quarterback.
Gosh, if you have the number 1 overall pick, I feel like it's a really good place to start.
But they can get the quarterback.
Yeah.
No one can skip them for the quarterback if they like any of these quarterbacks.
I think it's a good job. I mean, it's a bad job because they're a lousy organization, but just the place that they're in, I think it's a good job. You have the number 1 overall pick.
What don't we like about Mendoza? I'm just like he seems perfectly fine. What's the hole in his game?
Oh, the only thing I'm doing is everyone told me that Trevor Lawrence was the consensus number 1 overall. Nobody disagrees. That's a sure thing. And it's just a really difficult position to learn. And if you tell me that someone's not a prize, that you think of someone like Mendoza has made himself all of that because of the year he had. But I also saw a quarterback, while he was very good in the red zone, I also saw a quarterback that I could see that not being can't miss. Like that, no one's saying that.
Quarterback.
But Trevor Lawrence was regarded as someone who can't miss. Like, everyone said, number 1 pick.
Right.
Number 1 pick.
There was Andrew Luck, Trevor Lawrence, and it's
and
hard
now Caleb Williams.
And Caleb Williams was considered that guy.
Mendoza's not that.
No, I don't think he's that. But there's it's 3 guys in 15 years.
But what I would say to you is that even if Mendoza is that, I just saw the year Cam Ward had because Tennessee is surrounding him with what the Raiders would be surrounding Mendoza with. Like, they traded Myers. They've got Brock Bowers, and Janty didn't show you anything this year.
Janty, Brock Bowers, we're off to a pretty good start here in team building.
Genty didn't show you anything.
He's got a Hall of Fame tight end already as a weapon. They got some young receivers. They have either now it seems like a trade chip, but they have a great pass rusher in Max Crosby. I don't think it's that bad. I really don't. I think it's a pretty good spot.
I think it's a decent job.
Yeah, I think other than the tight end and Max Crosby, I don't think there's anybody on that roster who you go, wow, I wish we had him on our team, including the running back Janty, who had a bad rookie season.
The game has changed. Weed is legal now with Stugotz and Greg Cody.
I'll tell a story if it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
When I first took the first edible I ever took was in New York, and at the time I was breaking the law. Okay, so now you can feel good about telling your story. And the guy told me, hey, just eat half of this.
Mm.
And so I ate half, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and I didn't feel anything. And he begged me just to eat half. And he did say on the front end it might take a while. But I was impatient.
Right.
Because when you smoke marijuana, you get instant gratification. And waiting an hour or two for something to kick in was not something I was familiar with.
Right.
So I ate another half, which became a full cookie. And 60 minutes later, I don't remember anything. I woke up the next morning on the floor in my wife's uncle's apartment because Abby had to throw me into a cab with her, and she took me home. And I was curled up in the fetal position, and I don't remember a thing after the second half of that cookie.
Wow.
This was last Wednesday. So, with that being said, feel free to share your story of you having 4 cookies in Colorado.
Yeah, I wolfed them down. It was 3 or 4. I didn't know
3
how.
or 4?
Yeah,
You don't ask?
Down.
You don't say, hey, person I'm purchasing this from, how fast should I do these?
The guy at the thing, and it was one of those official things where you're, they dress like pharmacists in there. And they sold me a vial of edible cookies. And it was in Colorado, so it's 100% legal. And my wife and I are getting ready to go to dinner. We popped open the thing. She had a nibble of one, and I ate, I think, probably 2 or 3. And it hit me by the time we got to that restaurant.
I just love how terrified you are of this conversation. You keep throwing in there like it's perfectly legal I did.
To be fair to Greg, this has not exactly been, the most up and up thing to talk about for 60 years of his life.
Right, exactly.
This is a fairly recent phenomenon. We just go, oh yeah, everything's fine now.
No, and I don't, we did that because we were vacationing in Colorado, and I wanted to
stop giving qualifiers.
I have to give a qualifier.
Greg, more qualifiers.
It feels better when you're doing it legally. It
right.
does.
I'm gonna. I don't smoke anymore. I mean, I don't do that. I did in college.
Lying, trying to make them feel better.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
Getting away with it was much more fun. I mean, seriously.
I had my day doing that. So
we used to get dime bags at a place in Hillside, Queens. It was called the Tie Door. Oh, was it fantastic? You never saw the guy. You just saw his hand. You would see his
hand.
Like
a first touch in a marriage?
Yeah, you would open up this little sliding door in Hillside, Queens. You would see his hand. He would see your hand. You'd never see each other. He'd put weed in your hand. You would put money in his hand, and that was it. That was a transaction. It was great. Called the Tie Door.
Weed first, then money?
Money first.
Oh, there
well,
you go.
It was like you would do it at the same time, but occasionally.
So you'd see both hands.
Yes, correct.
Once every 6 months, you'd hear stories of like some guy sticking his hand and then getting arrested on the spot. The cuffs right on the wrist. That's all you see, the wrist, and then.
I always wondered, is today going to be the day? Because I went every day. And it wasn't far from my house, but is today the day that it's going to be a cop on the other side of that door? I did. I feared that every single day, but it didn't stop me from going out there every single day. Hop, skip, and a jump.
Against the Spread is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Roy, what do you got?
All right, we got Panthers and Maple Leafs tonight. The Panthers have failed to cover the puck line in 7 of the last 8 divisional games. And the home team has won 10 straight games involving the Maple Leafs. And the Maple Leafs right now, this game is going to be at Scotiabank Arena where the winning margin is 1.7. The Panthers will be without soon-to-be Olympian Seth Jones for the next couple of weeks after taking the puck up high. That's not going to help the offense from the blue line. So, go ahead with the Maple Leafs, who are dogs tonight at 1.5 goals against the Spread.
Picking against the home team.
It's a national TV game, too.
Oh, you're picking for the home team? Sorry, I wasn't paying
Yes,
attention.
yes. Yeah, there you go.
He's picking for the team that's playing in the home game, but not
Panthers
our
are
home
home
team.
Oh, then why are you
Not
confusing me?
our
I heard
home
that
team.
right?
Well,
Come on.
because it's in Toronto.
It's in Toronto.
I understand that. What are we doing?
But the
Okay.
Panthers
Made
are the
me
home
feel like an
team.
idiot.
They're our home team,
They're
but not
our
the
home
home team.
but they're playing in another
Our
country.
home
Yeah, no,
tonight.
that's what I meant. The
playing in
Toronto
Toronto.
Maple Leafs is all right. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
okay.
take the Colorado Avalanche against the spread because it's hard to beat them in regulation. A lot of teams pull the goalie, so it's always a great opportunity. They're really good in the third period, and I think they'll turn this thing around against us.
The Panthers beat them in regulation.
I know. So I'm
home
betting
team.
on that
Third
not
time
happening
this
again.
season.
Yeah, I'm rooting for not the home team here.
Colorado
Panthers were at
has
home that game,
Colorado has 3 or 4 losses in regulation this entire season.
3 now.
Against the spread.
That's crazy, right?
Hey, Against the Spread is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
We're halfway through the season.
Yes, that is nuts. They've been very good, and the Panthers don't have a better victory than that one at home in their most recent contest against Colorado. I do want to correct something, at least to be fair to Ashton Genty. He had 1,300 yards this year, Greg, and 1,000 of them were
Against the spread. Yes. 975 of them were rushing.
but 1,000 of them were after contact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
They got to fix the line.
Their offensive line is broken,
Right.
but what would you have liked him to show you when the offensive line is that bad? They cannot pass the ball, and
Right.
they only have a tight end. They traded their number one receiver.
Right.
So what would you how would he have put up numbers in that offense that just got Pete Carroll fired after 1 year?
You saw him in college. It's not like he doesn't know how to run.
Right. No. And maybe I was harsh to say he had a bad rookie year. I would absolutely call it a disappointing rookie year based on where he was drafted and the expectations of him. 3.7 yards per carry, ranked 45th in the league among qualified running backs.
I imagine at NFL headquarters, there's a room where it's like, this is the room where we track stats, and everyone's in charge of one stat. Like, I'm the yards after. So my job is to keep track of when someone's been touched. And I'm just at my desk, and I'm like, he's been touched! He was touched 3 yards before. Like, that seems like a hard thing to track.
It's stupid.
Like the yards after contact. Are we talking about just grazed?
TMI.
Is this like
one
a
of those-
hit?
That is one of those that I always take their word for.
Exactly. It's just.
You know what I think is the hardest stat to keep track of? I wonder this every time I go to a Panther game, and they show on the screen there, in real time, the ice time.
Yeah.
Who the hell keeps track of all
They
that?
actually have trackers now.
Is there a room in the ice high up? Gadjevich is on the ice.
They wear those things.
That's how they determine it?
Yeah.
And it's updated
a lot-
in real time.
Yeah, it's a lot more seamless now.
Wow,
Too much.
very impressive.
Let's all go around the room. The stat you'd most like to be in charge of. Greg? You were official scorer for minor league baseball.
Well, Greg is sitting here saying too much information.
Yeah.
He's objecting to all of it. Greg Cody is anti-information. He's anti-learning. He's
Right.
anti-getting better. He's anti-improving. He's anti-wisdom. He's anti-open mind. And because
Some of that's true.
Because he is against those things, he sees no value in I believe there's nuance in saying, you said Ashton Genty was just terrible, and I'm telling you he had 1,000 yards after contact. That's useful information on neutering your point, diluting it at least a little bit, that he's terrible. Because if he's doing that much after contact,
Right.
it's not irrelevant.
I don't think I said he was terrible. I think he said he had a really bad season. And I continue to think it was a really disappointing season based on draft and expectation. But, growing up, I knew what a good baseball player was. I didn't need to know what his OPS was because OPS hadn't been invented yet. You know what I'm saying? I knew a guy who could hit home runs. I didn't know that the velocity of his ball leaving the park was such and such.
You think
it didn't matter then, and it doesn't
you
matter
think those
now.
are the same though? You think OPS, which is an excellent individual measurement of what an individual is in the batter's box, independent of his teammates, is the same as exit velocity on a home run?
They're both examples of too much information.
No. The
Extraneous
first one is
information.
absolutely not. The first one, you can object to the second one if you want, but the first one.
I do want.
The first one, no, Greg. The first one's an accurate.
do want.
The first one is an accurate measurement of what a baseball player is as a hitter. It's the most accurate measurement that you can get that separates him from RBI and all the things that are dependent on teammates. When we break down Ashton Genty, what we're doing there is we're not able to separate him from his teammates. His offensive line was terrible. Geno Smith, come on, guys. You saw what Geno Smith was was in Seattle. Look at what he was this year. Look at what Kenny Pickett was when he got out there. Did you guys see what the Packers did this weekend? It was like 50 yards of offense they had by the fourth quarter. That's what the Raiders were when Kenny Pickett replaced Geno Smith. They were terrible at offense. It's not Genty's fault.
So how do you rebuild that? Do you just load up the offensive line for a future quarterback, or do you get the quarterback knowing that you need the offensive line, but this quarterback has really good numbers against pressure?
Bijan Robinson in his rookie season had 976 yards on the ground.
Much after contact.
Ashton Genty had 975.
Okay, I got to backtrack. How does the technology on the skater know when they're on the ice so that the clock starts running again?
They all have eagle eye, dude.
Who has eagle eye?
They all have that technology. Have you ever not?
Who's they?
Have you ever watched like these like fan watch parties at like the Tampa Bay Lightning when they're on the road and people are watching just like these little circles on the ice move and pass the puck?
Yeah,
everything's tracked.
I watched the final game.
Tracked by who?
They're tracked by the cameras.
So the cameras
They're
see
tracked
a
by
player
cameras
get on
and
the ice,
sensors.
and a camera
There's a
starts
thing,
to talk?
motion
the
sensor.
perimeter of the ice has like a thing on, and then when their sensor goes past it, it triggers. Okay, this person is moved.
You know that for sure.
I'm just assuming.
Why are you
that's kinda
poking
how it
holes
works.
in this? I can
Common
say fairy
sense.
dust. It friggin' works.
I'm
it
trying
backs
to
up.
understand is all.
Well, you don't think it checks out?
But
You think Seth Jones may be on the ice for 13 minutes and not
I'm
12,
just trying to
37?
understand, and Chris's theory that there's a sensor around
There
the
is.
edge of the rink. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that.
I just think there's a sensor on them, like the tracking thing that we're talking about. It's probably tracked based off movement. So when they get up off the bench,
How do you know
it
that?
What if they're going
How
to
do you know
pee,
it's
though?
timeout and they're not just getting on the ice? How do they know? Don't
What?
look at me like that. This is a
You,
legitimate
you think
question.
someone getting
What?
off the bench and going to the bathroom is the same as the heart rate
Doug.
of playing an NHL game?
We just saw a
No, what if
pretty
he's skating
convincing
toward the
video.
face-off dot?
We just saw a pretty convincing video of Mario Cristobal punching Ryan Day in the face.
Yeah.
And you don't think they can figure out when you're on the ice?
I'm trying to know who they is.
Is yards after contact like any touch,
You
or
know
it needs
who
to
they
be
are.
some level of like hit? Like, what if I'm reaching to tackle you and just my hand just
You know a
grazes
stat
your
that I
thigh?
heard? Greg McElroy on Always College Football. He's like, Ole Miss, they initiate contact on a rushing attempt 1.5 yards after the line of scrimmage. And Miami, they're running for 5.5 yards after contact. You know what that means?
7 yards carry.
Yes, that's what I've been saying.
Mass kicks ass.
It's a bad defense Ole Miss has. That's why I refer to them as Ole Miss tackles. They missed 15 tackles in the last game and won anyway.
You mentioned tackles, Greg. I think tackling is going to be a big deal. Like this game is being played in Glendale, and that turf is a disaster. Remember the Super Bowl that was there? People were slipping and sliding everywhere. I'm worried about this turf, especially with a quarterback like Chambliss who can run around and squirt out of these situations. I think we're going to see a lot of missed tackles.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Are you worried about this turf? And Chris Cody, I just want to see if I have this right. You're of the belief that it is possible that Ashton Genty has more than 1,000 yards after contact because everyone grazed his shirt with a finger.
I'm asking the difference.
But
Like, does any contact mean?
But I just want to be clear. You think the
I
majority.
prefer it to be tough contact.
Okay, yeah, but you're thinking that perhaps this stat is flawed because there was just somebody who sort
was
of
grazed
the
Right.
shirt,
and all
the
of a sudden he's
sleeve,
getting yak, and it's like, is this really yak?
the sleeve of his jersey.
I just want to know who's determining when a yak has begun.
Does him giving a stiff arm count?
If there's a scrum and a player skates fast to the scrum to defend his teammates, you're telling me the clock on his ice time stops? He's still skating.
Roy, what do you mean does a stiff arm count? Of course it counts.
That's
There's
contact.
Like, what do you mean?
But
He's
he
delivering the
generated the
contact.
contact.
He
No, I'm
generated
with
contact.
Roy on this.
That's contact.
No, but I'm with Roy on this.
It's
So
not-
now
it's
he
not
can go
initiated.
create contact? What if
Yes.
I just want a bunch of yak? I'm just going
I-
to go like, oh, hit me.
Yes.
Touch
Yak.
me. Touch me.
Yes.
The running back gets credit for yards after contact fraudulently when it's a blatant missed tackle. He didn't do anything.
Right.
It's the defender's fault, and yet the yak man gets credit for 38 yards after
Yak
a missed
man.
tackle.
By the way, to answer Zaslow's question, the game clock would stop. So
But up.
time on the ice would stop.
I got a lot of questions about this ice time.
You do, so do we, but I have to move on to other subjects like Snoop Dogg calling a game. I have said before that I believe that Snoop Dogg in my lifetime is the most amazing spokesperson history that I have seen. Somebody going from murder trial and an assortment of things that over the first 30 years of his life might not have turned into media spokesman and sponsorship opportunities. Here's Snoop Dogg doing the color commentary on a game involving Steve Kerr, and Steve Kerr yelling at the referees during Clippers and Warriors last night. The Clippers end up beating the Warriors by 1 last night.
Uh-oh, Steve, don't get thrown out. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. Back him up, GP. Back him up, Steve. Ready to fire on him.
He's already gone.
Steve banging Inglewood right now. Inglewood, get him, Steve. You in Inglewood, Steve? The Arizona Wildcat that came out and look at it.
Just missing Lamar Thomas shouting, "We ready."
That is a classic callback right there. For those of you who do not know, see if you can find the "We Ready" sound. This was an amazing thing to listen to a broadcast. See if you can find all of it, Chris. It might not be easy. It was an FIU-Miami brawl, and in the broadcast booth, Lamar Thomas, former Hurricane, started inciting more and more brawl and then never got another broadcasting job after this.
Now the Metro-Dade police trying to restore order. And that's what I'm talking about. You come into our house, you should get your behind kicked. You don't come in the OB playing that stuff. You across the ocean over there. You across the city. You can't come over to our place talking noise like that. You get your butt beat. I was about to go down the elevator and get in that thing. You know, I say why don't they just meet outside in the tunnel after the ball game and get it on some more. You don't come into the OB, baby. We've had it down a couple years, but you don't come in here talking smack. Not in our house. You know what we be saying right now? We ready. We ready.
Did Lamar Thomas ever get a broadcasting job after being fired right after that? Well, I think he might have gotten some broadcasting job.
Play-by-play guy there? Do you remember?
I do not.
Jason Slotkin.
Thank you. That was a real flex by you, a weird flex by you. I want to get to something here because Zaslow, not a lot of people know this, and I'm going to betray him some here. He can be a bit of a thief when it comes to trying to steal, like, for example, the spotlight from an Evan Cohen, for example, because I will get to this with Zaslow in a second, but Evan Cohen was doing one of these bowl games. I'm going to say...
Boca Bowl, Bush's Boca Bowl.
Okay, the Boca Bowl. It was Louisville against...
Toledo?
Nailed it.
Right?
All right, so there was a brawl in the game on the sidelines, and I believe Evan Cohen, a rising star in this business, I believe that Evan Cohen did what passes for the closest thing that sports will ever have to war correspondent reporting, because Evan Cohen was in the middle of true chaos. There was a fight on the sidelines, and Evan Cohen, over 10 minutes, I was listening to this broadcast, he did not have a hiccup as I thought he was being pepper sprayed, and I thought the police were hitting him with batons, but he was totally relaxed in the middle of what appeared to be a giant brawl in Boca.
Evan is right in the middle of that scrum. Evan, what do you got?
Carlin, this is ugly. It looked, from my vantage point, like almost like a Louisville player was stomping on a Toledo player because one of the Toledo players was punching another Louisville player to a point that multiple police officers literally had to get in the middle of this. I'm counting on the field. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different police officers, 10 different police officers on the field. Guys, this was an absolute melee.
I am stunned that there were no ejections. Evan, let's talk a little more about this. How has that happened?
Chris and Freddie, there's just no way the refs saw it because of where they were on the field. I'm literally looking at the bench, and the Louisville mascot right now has the guy's crutches on the sideline. There's just no way the refs saw everything that we saw.
Down to Evan Cohen with more.
Guys, I count in front of me, I am standing at the 15-yard line or so on the Louisville sideline. 14 police officers, rough count. I talked to one of them. I said, how is there only 2 penalties? Did you see more? Could the refs have seen it? He said, there were definitely some things, probably should have been more. Some things is what the police officer said. Not an official statement. I'm just saying my conversation with the officer on the sideline.
I want you to imagine my confusion, okay? Just listening on the radio, hearing this report, okay? There are police officers all over the field. Refs didn't see anything.
And the mascot has one of the guy's crutches.
And this is a Tuesday at 11:45.
He asked the cop why there were only 2 penalties.
That's right. And then quoted the cop as saying the refs definitely missed
some more stuff.
What could the things have been? The cop said there were some things.
The mascot took crutches?
Something else.
What a Bush's Baked Bean Boca Bowl.
You can't use the number 14 and then use the phrase rough count. If you're going to say rough
Right.
count, you got to make it 15.
10 or 15,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Round number. Yeah.
Well, he's just allowing for the idea that he might have missed a cup or two.
No, but it's like saying, there's 5 billion grains of sand on the beach, rough count. You just can't say that. You got to be specific.
I think it's important that from that reporting you find the way to criticize because you would have done it so much better.
I would have said 15 is a rough count.
What if there were only 14?
Well, then you say exactly 14.
Well, ballpark.
The main question we had back here is why were you listening to that?
Yeah.
Oh, I love listening to
You do.
I love listening. No.
You had the 6.5.
It's your strangest quirk.
I love listening to college football on the radio, at least in part. Now, this was an ESPN. No, driving around. This was an ESPN broadcast. But the reason
it was a Wednesday afternoon.
The reason I love listening to college football in the car is because invariably somebody is selling furniture. The local furniture store is sponsoring the 20-yard line, and I want to be amused by the number of sponsorships that they try to keep radio alive with by selling the holy hell out of the Toledo-Louisville game. And also, I had Louisville in that one, and they didn't cover.
It's an amazing endorsement. Dan, why do you listen to college football? I love the endorsements.
The local...
All our salespeople just perked up.
I love the sponsors.
Hold up. It's like, you love them over there. We found the lane.
Get me Mike Ryan's call of the final play of the Duke-Miami game that had 75 laterals in it, because I thought the funniest thing that was in that entire broadcast was Mike Ryan making fun of what Joe Zagacki has to do with the last 40 yards of a touchdown.
Paying homage, Dan.
Right, that's
We're
what
not
I meant.
making fun of the legendary Joe
Do you know
Zagacki.
for sure that Joe Zagacki has heard this?
Has he heard this? I think he's heard this. I don't know for sure though, but I think so.
So it's
Come on, it's a legendary clip.
I don't know if Greg Cody has heard this. Have you heard Mike Ryan's call of the end? It was a very controversial end. There were a lot of penalties that were not called. Speaking of referees not seeing things, there were 14 police officers on the field during all of these laterals, and nothing was seen from all the Miami cheating. Miami ends up winning against Duke. Here is the call.
27-24, squib kick. Just fall down on it or whatever. No, they're going to try the lateral. Pass it to the other side of the field. This never works. Caught by Cornelder. Pitches it back to Jaquan Johnson at the Miami 30. Delaying the inevitable. Looking for a block. Pitches it backwards. As many laterals now as BS pass interference penalties on that last drive. Walton now pitches it back to Johnson. Guess we're going to keep going with this. Toss it back. Here comes another pitch. Cornelder has it. Throws it back to the Plumbers 911 goal line. Dallas Crawford looking for a block. Gets one. Definitely not a block in the back. He throws it across to the 30 to Cornelder. Big legal block. He's got it to the 40. Cornelder crossing El Palacio de los Jugos midfield. Cornelder speeding now to the 40. Speeding ticket, FigHoward.com. Helder now dashing down the Dandy Bear sideline. So what, your kid has ringworm. Dandy Bear. Helder inside the Gus Machado red zone. Cornelder, he's at the 10. He's at the 5. Lindy, Herrick, Scotty, Mike, Miami, Seaquarium, touchdown! There are presently no flags on the field, and certainly no one will have a problem with how this game ended. Oh, wait, we don't speak English, so everyone hates us.
Mike Greenberg the next day called for the ACC to reverse the decision.
Yeah, I made Jamel Hill apologize on our show. She demanded that we forfeit. For
Mike, I imagine you listening to that is what it felt like for the Beatles when they finished Abbey Road and they were listening back in the studio and they were like, yeah, we did it.
Yeah, only that was live.
It's pretty amazing.
It's a masterpiece.
So it's more impressive.
Masterpiece.
That and Mel Kiper Jr. breaking down divas live, that was also very
So more
difficult.
impressive than Abbey Road, just so we can
Yes,
get that.
because
Okay.
it was live.
Got it.
They definitely rehearsed Abbey Road before they put it out.
That's a good point.
Speaking of masterpieces, the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody
Yep. Thank
has an excellent conceit in the most recent episode, which is the top 50 catchphrases ranked of all time that Greg Cody has. And I did not realize there were 50. I was told that they've winnowed it down from more than 100. And I simply cannot believe that there would be this many. I could come up with a top 10 list of the catchphrases I have heard him say since we dined in the Harold eating area about 40 years ago. But I cannot come up with 50, absolutely not. Can you give us some hints as to what example, like number 50 is?
We're doing two at a time. So this week, we started the list. We unveiled number 50 and 49 of the top 50 Greg Cody catchphrases of all time.
What is the occasion to do this?
There's really not an occasion.
Narcissism it sells for us.
Yes.
It's
just,
whenever we do
total
shit like this.
Self-involvement. It's just him being able to celebrate him.
Well, people over the years have told me I have a lot of catchphrases. Many have been popularized on this show, some on my own podcast, some in just everyday life. For example, 50 and 49 are totally different. One is something I've said my entire life, which I'll tell you what it is. It's I'm fuller than Vern Fuller.
Wow, giving away the goods.
Yeah, but I won't say what number 49 is, but number 49 was something Yeti had never even heard of, but was very special.
That's number 50.
Fuller than Vern Fuller my entire life, anytime he's full.
Why just two per episode?
Yeah, two per episode.
I mean,
25 weeks?
We're trying to build,
25
drag
weeks.
this thing out, Roy.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus.
It's
TSL.
It's only like a couple of minutes per episode. It's not like we're doing an entire podcast on announcing.
You'll
two
have to
phrases.
forgive my ignorance. Who is Vern Fuller?
Vern Fuller was a Cleveland Indians utility infielder from the 1960s.
You can say that.
With a career batting average of about 230.
What's
but
OPS?
I have no idea.
Didn't have it back
Did he
then.
just nail his batting average?
232 career batting average.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
amazing.
Describe the logo he wore.
Here's the problem with OPS. OPS.
Here we go. We're back on this.
Okay,
for the love of God.
somebody who's on base a lot but isn't a slugger has a
at
low
that beauty.
OPS. Somebody who's a slugger but his on base percentage isn't good, he has a low OPS. So let's not act like OPS is everything. But Vern Fuller was the only baseball player at the time with the last name Fuller. And so I'm fuller than Vern Fuller was a natural, and it just happens to be something that I've said my entire life.
A natural.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
What was number 49?
Yeah,
since
just
you
give it to us,
already
Dad.
revealed it on your podcast, The Greg Cody Show, featuring Greg Cody. It's not a reveal.
With-
You can embargo the other 48 if
Should
you
I
want.
do it, Christopher?
It's already out.
Yeah, but Dan, we want people from this audience that haven't listened.
But isn't there
But
a
that's
whole
what the
rest
other
of the show?
24
Yeah, of
episodes are
course.
going to be 4.
Yeah. In fact, I addressed my team after the championship
We
loss
also have that.
and announced the firing of
See,
Kurt
we're giving away
Cartwheel.
all the goods here.
No, honestly, I'm listening to it now. Right now. I'm leaving.
What is number 49?
All right, just give it, Dad.
Okay, number 49 is Where's My Click Click?
It's loaded.
And
That's when I was a child, when he's in the car with someone and he wants them to buckle up, it's, where's my click, click? And then once the person buckles up, he goes, there's my click, click.
Like the suntan commercial?
the what?
Yeah, like she has short shorts.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess it is in that realm. But click, click, I've been saying since Christopher and Michael were
And he even started saying it to
toddlers.
my daughter. My daughter knows where's my click, click.
Yeah.
Greg, you're having an all-timer. All I need is a back in my day, and we're hanging the
Nah,
jersey.
Do you have one?
Don't get crazy.
You have one?
Is it Tuesday?
Yes.
Yeah.
That hasn't
course I
worked in
do.
months.
Of course I do.
You what?
Yes.
You have one?
It's Tuesday.
You have one.
This is gaslighting.
Is it ready?
Yeah.
All
why
right.
not?
What? You have one?
Yes.
Oh,
No,
God.
like for
Gotta
real?
find the imaging.
Yeah, why wouldn't I?
Find
Dust that off.
Get the cobwebs off of it. See whatever.
Wait, is this a joke?
No, I have one.
Oh, he's got a piece
You
of
have
paper in his
pieces
hand.
of
He's
paper.
messing with us,
I-
guys.
I-
This has to be a bit.
This is your first
I have
one in a year.
Myriad pieces
More
of
than a
paper
year.
here.
Holy shit.
But I do have to leave right after this back in my day.
It's
of course you
definitely
do.
more than a year. I could tell you I've never been in studio with him doing it back in my day.
Wow.
Neither have
Never
I.
been here.
How about that?
Where's my click click? It's something that is only uttered in his car.
Where's my click click?
How does it get to be a catchphrase?
It reminds me to
There's
buckle up. Oh,
my
I gotta
click,
buckle up. That's
click.
right.
Where's my imaging?
And now, it is time to take a trip down memory lane. Here's your guide, Greg Cody, with Back in My Day.
Cliff's Notes. Things were so innocent when I was in school growing up that Cliff's Notes felt like cheating. We didn't know our benefactor or would have personally thanked founder Clifton Hillegas, who took out a $4,000 loan in a Lincoln, Nebraska basement in 1958, invented and produced Cliff's Notes. The brand launched with 16 summaries of Shakespearean plays. Perfect. No high school teen on earth wanted to slog through the turgid prose of Romeo and Juliet, but we all had to feign interest for the grade. Kids a generation earlier had to actually read Shakespeare or hit the set of encyclopedias to find old Bill right there between Shakers, the religion, and Shale, the rock. Us, we bought Cliff's Notes, breezed through the summary, and from that vomited a quick report. Boom! B+. Cliff's Notes was the academic equivalent of Rosie Ruiz running a marathon. Only these shortcuts and cut corners were perfectly legal, accepted even. The iconic yellow and black guidebooks became such a part of society that they inspired Wiz Khalifa to write his song Black and Yellow. Okay, totally made that up. Now back to the truth. Cliff's Notes was the start of us having it easy. Too easy. Time was you wanted directions somewhere, you had to consult an atlas, ask someone who'd been there, or get a triptych from AAA. You needed a paper on World War II? You hit the encyclopedia or asked Grandpappy. No Alexa or Siri or whatever she's called now, no Google to ask, and certainly no artificial intelligence to do everything for you but wipe your ass. Cliff's Notes was a delightful shortcut, something different. Now everything's a shortcut. The very need for formal education is getting closer and closer to becoming extinct. There is no real need to know that pi equals 3.14 or that Australia is wider than the moon. But if there were, your laptop can tell you faster than your teacher. Now, so can Cliff's Notes, which sadly has adapted to the times and become more of an online entity that wants to do even more of your work for you. Ban everything that gives you free information fast. Make learning laborious again. Bring back dictionaries, atlases, road maps, sets of encyclopedias, and a reliance on the fading memories of elders. I'm Greg Cody, and that's how it was back in my day.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Take it.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Let's go.
See, Jeremy, that's like listening to Abbey Road.
It is my
that right there.
Worth the wait.
Wow.
Put it on the
Now
poll
do it again.
at Le Batard Show.
Next week.
Did you know that Australia was wider than the moon? This was something that I was thinking about. I've heard over the years many people make the argument on behalf of you shouldn't go to college. All of that information is available to you. You don't have to pay to go to college and have it taught to you. Now, I would make the argument there are all sorts of social reasons to go to college as well. But what I had not accounted for recently that's happened with AI is that it is a plague in our college system that college students aren't actually doing the work. They're just farming it out. So you're paying for college, but you're farming out all the work to computers and you're rendering college kind of useless if you can trick your professors because you're having the computers do everything for you. It's just not something that I had accounted for. Have you guys given any consideration to the idea that college would be less worth the cost now than it ever has been because so many students can just cheat their way through without having to do the work, especially if professors aren't paying close attention?
Yeah, of course, but still it's about getting that college degree so that your potential employer, like you can't convince your employer, I didn't need to go to college. I learned all the stuff that I need for this gig. I did it on my own at home. Like you still have to show the employer that you went to
the modern
school.
Employer, the new age modern employer that understands that the entire world has changed and that there are other ways to learn than the traditional ways of learning, especially since you can now cheat your way through the traditional ways of learning. Like it's worth less than it used to be, I would think, if you could cheat your way through it.
I think jobs that require a college degree are far and fewer between than they used to be. I just don't get the sense that that's a requirement of as many jobs as it once was.
You got companies hiring people.
I mean, come on.
They're done doing that, pal.
They don't care. You need to have that college degree to even qualify to get the job.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's all that the value really
That's-
has been forever. Like what you were
sucks.
talking about. Oh, it's awful. Like it's terrible. And that's why, like, when I was in college, I would tell everyone, like, no, everything that I learned of value came from internships because it's practically applying everything. And that's why there are so many jobs where going to a trade school would be better than going to college and earning a degree. But a lot of the time, that's your only choice. If you want to set yourself up for success, is I need to physically have a degree, whether you cheated your way through it or not.
There are many things that I think people listening to this would be surprised that even some of the most successful people in sports haven't actually learned, because I believe that Lane Kiffin does not know how to grocery shop. I don't know whether this is his family playing a trick on him, but I do believe that some of these coaches are so lopsided and have to be so lopsided, being good at the particular thing that they're good at, that they have a team of people handling a bunch of stuff for them that they don't know how to handle. So let's look at Lane Kiffin here. He is a very popular, successful, well-paid LSU coach who has really shaken the entirety of the system, because the team he built in Mississippi with the quarterback he built it with is 2 games from a championship, and it's the best Mississippi team we've ever seen. And if he wants his assistants back, they might not have the proper coaching for the biggest game in program history, which is being played in 2 days. But is it surprising to learn, and do you believe that this video and audio from Lane Kiffin's home is true, that Lane Kiffin does not know how to grocery shop?
Oh, you can't.
Landry.
Oh.
What? I don't get it.
Why did you bring that back?
How else are you supposed to carry it? You have to pay for bags. They said you have to pay for a bag. It's self-checkout. So then I just...
Standing in his living room with a shopping basket that he took from the grocery store.
Stole it. He stole.
Is it stealing?
What do you mean? Is it stealing? Of course,
not your property.
Is it stealing?
I'm so sure.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is it stealing to? Well, I don't want to call it the cart because it's the basket. Is it stealing to take home the basket from the grocery store the way Lane Kiffin?
I feel like
did?
if it's my Publix, like, I'll be back. This thing will be back.
And you're going to bring it back?
Jack.
No, you aren't. You'll use it as a laundry basket.
You're the reason that I can never take the cart past a certain point without being electrocuted at my Whole Foods, where
That can't be electrocuted.
the cart just stops. The cart stops.
I also
and
have my doubts.
I am electrocuted every time I try to take.
Story.
Every time I try to take the cart a little bit outside of wherever it is they've got their electrical fencing.
They have shock collars.
I
on
get
their carts.
electrocuted by the bars of my grocery cart, and the wheels freeze up, and you're the reason, because you think that's not stealing, because you think you can take the basket in the cart.
It matters
home and
if
you'll
it's
just
his
return
Publix.
it.
Everyone has their grocery store, and I feel like you have
true.
more liberties at your grocery store if the managers know you. Like if
That's
he's
true.
there all the time, I'm not calling the cops on that.
Did it look like he's there all the time?
I mean, I'm surprised he does his own shopping. I
I
was
am
very
too.
impressed by all that.
Good for
honestly.
Lane.
Well, he doesn't do his own shopping, clearly.
I mean, he does. Oh, because you're saying he probably did for
That's
the first
time he has probably in, 25 years? Maybe ever. He grew up with, head coach money in his family, right? Like, that's a rich man who's been rich for a long time.
Trying to avoid paying what? How much did they charge for bags?
Yeah,
So
he was
he's
upset they charged, 60 cents
You
for
don't
a
think
bag.
Monty used to send him to the grocery store, pick up a milk?
Charging for bags, though, I'm out on that.
You
He handheld the bottle of bleach, which I thought was a
Pro move?
a big move.
You don't want to mix the
big
bleach
move.
with the
yeah.
food.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
handheld it. That's a veteran shopper. Good for Lane.
You can make the argument, or a decent argument, that Lane Kiffin is sort of the advent, way ahead of his time, on the NFL team going and getting the really young head coach, the first 30-plus just young person who looks like a boy because he knows better than everyone else. He wasn't ready for the job that since, by the way, this Raiders organization you speak of hasn't been any good since. Like the Raiders, you guys think that's a good job, and that organization for 20 years has been an abject failure. Like everything that's happening there has been wrong. We've been asking, are they for real for 20 years? And the answer is always no. In fact, I'd put them right next to the Dolphins in terms of like, man, you haven't done anything. You're a regional team and you haven't done shit for 2 decades, no matter who it is that's in charge there. But to watch him presently do what's happening in college football as a symbol for sort of the excess and the stupidity and the way that the rules have gone all awry. To me, it won't dilute Miami winning a championship, but having this kind of business around college football where 30% of the players are in the portal and a coach can do this to the biggest game in program history, where it's like you don't know if these kids are going to have their coaches available in a way that's attentive because Lane Kiffin had to job jump. I find it fairly amazing that we live in a time where we're watching this shit happen, where a salary for a quarterback can be $3 million, 30% of the players are in the portal, and the coach at the front of it, the hood ornament on it, is a total mercenary.
This is one of the biggest college football stories of our time. Heather Dinich, by the way, reported that Charlie Weiss Jr. and Kevin Smith will be a part of the Ole Miss staff. I can't imagine how difficult this is to balance for those coaches that are still there, for the coaches that are traveling back and forth, and to the players who this is totally unfair for. This is crazy, and I wonder if Lane Kiffin regrets it, because what would the national conversation be around this Ole Miss team?
Regrets which part?
If Ole Miss still had Lane Kiffin. Because he left for a job that he felt like he would have a better opportunity to win a title at. They're 2 games from a national title. And the way that company Northeast in Bristol operates, all the credit would be going to Lane Kiffin. Oh, yeah. All the credit would be going to Lane Kiffin. Now, he's still part of the story in his own Lane Kiffin type of way, but he is not the story. In fact, he is the adversity facing these kids and Pete Golding, and I think he regrets it.
Episode of the Alley-Oop, we give Devin Booker his flowers. Is he maybe the most underrated guard in the NBA right now?
Yes, sir, and we also give Dylan Brooks his flowers, and my sister tries to get canceled. Follow her right now on blackplanet.com/Trista Creed preemptively. Lock in.
Lock in.